Comes in from Teresa, Sean, Jessica and Eleanor, and they wanted to play near 9 o'clock, and I think we're not so bad at 2 minutes.
Who's it for again?
It is for Aunt Geraldine Boyce.
Happy birthday, Geraldine.
70 today.
How
Young,
much?
70.
70's young.
Isn't it funny how you say how much? How much your birthday? As much as you can give me, I'll take it all.
Big 7-0.
And I have another one. Happy birthday to Jodie Bell from St. Johnson. It comes in from
How much?
How much? I'll take a guess. 32? I don't know. It could be. I don't know. There's no age here. There's no muchness here from the Finn. Is that a thing you would say? Is how much? How much is your birthday?
You wouldn't know what I'd say. Someone messaged me in, and there's the kids listening in the car, and the two children have a disagreement in the back of the car every morning, right?
Can't be doing this.
And they want us to
sort it out.
What is
the
thing? I don't have it.
Will you find out, will you?
Through it. I will, and I'll bring it to you tomorrow.
Right.
So we'll put Judge Lee on the case.
Right. Are you going to give me forewarning on this, or
no? So
off the hip?
Yep. The format is apparently there's a I don't remember the legal terminology, but there's a case for the defence and a case for the prosecution,
right.
And you can sort it out.
Am I going to be the nice guy? You're going to be the mean guy?
No. It's only a trivial wee thing, but we're here to sort it out.
We're here to help.
Yeah,
right.
Because sometimes they're ongoing, so it's not a serious thing. So chill.
Do I have to dress up for this?
No.
Going to court and stuff?
Just have a gavel.
Gavel? Yes, what word does that mean?
A gavel. That's that wooden stick.
Gavel. The stick. Yeah. The hammer.
Which I don't think that it's actually used in Irish courts.
Hit a button now.
An American thing.
It's all a button. Imagine the judge and the button's not working. It'd be frustrating. It'd be banging away like a remote control, squeezing the number.
Well, anyway, we'll sort out that little dispute of a case.
That's thanks. I look forward to that one.
And what was I going to say to you as well?
Oh God, there's a lot going on today.
No, that's it. That's all.
You sure there was something else?
No.
You sure?
I'll have to come back to that.
Right.
Okay.
Right. How much?
Lee, have a great day. All right, take care of yourself. Get your judge's outfit sorted. I want that wee wig on and everything, all right? It is the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio at 9 o'clock. It's time for a news update, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty. Good morning to you, Donna Marie.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A security alert in Carnhill in Derry has seen a number of homes evacuated. Cordons are in place and police remain on the scene. No further information is available at this time, and updates are pending. Donegal County Council is facing calls for more litter bins to be installed in Ballybuffet. Councillor Dakota McVanman says the lack of bins on Navanny Street in particular is highlighted when local football matches are being hosted in the town. She says while the increased footfall is to be welcomed, it's important that the efforts of the Tidy Towns group is not compromised as a result.
When anybody comes and say they go to a takeaway, like they have nowhere to put their rubbish and they're forced to either carry it with them, or in most cases what ends up happening is it ends up being littered. And just Finn Harps is such a good attraction to our town. I think we should try to keep it up the tidiness of the town, because more people will come back to Finn Harps if they see how tidy it is. They'll not come back if it's very messy.
Intu's Mary T. Sweeney has announced that she is to contest the upcoming general election. The Letterkenny woman says the party is looking to hold government to account on behalf of the people, something she says she'll deliver if elected. She will launch her election campaign this Saturday at the Vestry in Letterkenny Town Park at 7 o'clock. While Intu was unsuccessful in the last general election in Donegal, Ms. Sweeney says the party has grown since its establishment over 5 years ago.
Well, we're only a couple of months into the elections and just newly formed as a party. It's 5 years down the road, and people have seen the work that Aintu have committed to, without government funding, might I add. Aintu, without government funding, were the only party to stand up and canvass to alert people about the two recent referenda, the pitfalls and the downfalls against women and those two down. We're the only party that already has a higher quota of women standing without any need of enforcement and legislation.
Sports clubs in Donegal are celebrating a significant funding boost. The government has allocated over €13 million to the county as part of a nationwide initiative to support sports facilities and equipment. Over 80 Donegal clubs, including Dunfanaghy Golf Club, Letterkenny Rovers FC and Greg Hughes, will benefit from the investment. And finally, there's concerns about people self-diagnosing themselves with ADHD on TikTok. The hashtag ADHD has been viewed billions of times, with some people self-diagnosing instead of waiting for a formal assessment. Others are also claiming to be coaches in the area without formal training. Clinical psychologist Dr. Susan Young is urging caution.
There's a lot of inaccurate posts. There are some that are frankly completely misleading. And also there's a drive for entertainment factor. It gives a completely wrong impression of an ADHD person. Posts that are like, say, something like, if you can't focus in exams, you have ADHD, right? You'll get something like that. And then everyone thinks, oh, I've got ADHD.
For weather now, today will be dry with bright and sunny spells, highest temperatures of 11 to 12 degrees with light to moderate northeast winds. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. We'll be back again at 10 o'clock.
There are silent conversations that happen on our roads every day between drivers and older pedestrians like me. When we catch each other's eye to say, "Do you see me?" or "I'm crossing." But when people don't look out for each other, those connections can be missed. And so can I.
Too many older pedestrians are being killed on our roads. When we look out for each other,
We keep each other safe.
please look out for older pedestrians. From the Road Safety Authority, visit rsa.ie.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. You're very welcome along to another edition of the 9 till Noon Show. It's the midweek one. It's Wednesday the 25th of September at 4 minutes past 9. Thanks so much for choosing Highland Radio. We really appreciate your support and your company, and we want you involved in the conversation. We've got loads lined up on the show today, and we want you texting in your views or raising your own topics or issues, whatever you want to talk about. 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and text that number. You can WhatsApp voice notes to it as well. If you want to contact us from outside the Republic, it's 00353 87 60 25,000. If you want to give us a telephone call, it's 07491 25,000, and your emails come into us at the usual address. It's comments@highlandradio.com. The Finn Valley Voice is today, just after celebrating 30 years in circulation. And just to remind you, there's a podcast interview with Slee McGlynn from the paper as part of Business Matters. It's in our listen back section if you're interested. But their lead story today: Donegal publicans demand 9% VAT rate. Job losses in independently run bars are becoming one of the most significant casualties of the high VAT rate on hospitality, according to members of the Donegal Vintners Association meeting recently in Cheers Bar, Ballybofey. And you can read much more about that on the front of it inside that paper today. Obviously, everybody knows at this point we're in the midst of a housing crisis, so it's kind of startling to read that there's 50,000 apartments that are green-lit from a planning perspective that are not going to construction in Dublin. Construction work has not yet started on over 50,000 apartments that have been planning or that have planning permission in Dublin, according to new figures published by the 4 local authorities in the city. They show that building apartments in Dublin has largely become commercially unfeasible, as construction costs are now higher than what buyers are willing to pay. And this really, I think, is quite interesting. I have no interest in construction or property ownership as such, but this is the elephant in the room here. Who actually pulls the string? Who's in charge of property development? Is it the government? Is it the banks? Is it the people? Or is it the construction companies? Because they are able to say, and I'm not saying this is what's happening, but they are able to say, right, you need the houses. We're the people that build them. The planning permission is there, but there's not enough money in the department. So what comes next? What comes next? This is just in the lead up to a budget. Is it further tax break for construction? Is that what's required? I don't know. Or is this maybe contractors holding out to get as much money as they possibly can? But it goes to show that regardless of any plans that might be there in the current setup, it is actually really the contractors and the companies that determine housing delivery and not the state. In many cases, certainly in and around Dublin, they cost more apartments to construct when you take in all the costs, including the land, than you actually sell them for, said Bryn Griffiths, Vice Chair of the Quantity Surveyors Group within the Society of Chartered Surveyors Ireland. There's definitely a viability equation that isn't stacking up. It wasn't helped by the nearest rate, the interest rate increase in the last few years. From a construction cost point of view, we saw rapid inflation in 2021 and 2022 that has cooked, but it is still going up. What it isn't doing is falling. So as I say, there's a bit of a standoff here, and it's just going to be interesting to do with an upcoming budget. If the government says, right, we need these guys to build these houses, what can we do to incentivize them? And that's where the control lies, I think, but I could be wrong. The slimmed down hate crime bill will retain special protection for transgender and non-binary people, the Department of Justice has said. This is in the Irish Times. The government has confirmed that it intends to shelve the controversial hate speech elements of the bill, but the hate crime legislation, which provides for tougher sentences for crimes such as assault that are motivated by hatred, is expected to be brought before the Dáil in the coming weeks. And there's been an awful lot of conversation about the hate speech rules. They're off the table now. So this is separate. This is hate crime. A spokesperson for Minister for Justice, Helen McEntee, confirmed to the newspaper yesterday that the definition of gender contained in the original bill would remain. Unease over these aspects of the bill among backbenchers was one of the things that caused the government to rethink its approach. Now, I mean, people have different views about someone, say, for instance, that is transgender. And those conversations are ongoing and will continue to be ongoing. But I don't think anyone really would like to see someone being beaten up for that reason. So in other words, it would just be a regular assault if it wasn't motivated by, say, for instance, someone being transgender. That would make it a hate crime. So I don't think anyone would. Is anyone opposed to sort of that being in the bill, that someone could get assaulted for that particular reason? Anti-discrimination laws have established protected characteristics. They are race, colour, nationality, religion, national ethnic origin, descent, gender, sex characteristics, sexual orientation and disability. And those protections are expected extended in the hate crime legislation. The legislation provides for tougher sentences for crimes which show hatred motivated by these protected characteristics. Or maybe some might say that is also a 1 foot in the hate speech camp. I don't know. I don't know enough. Well, I know plenty about it, but as I say, I don't know enough about what's actually published to be able to tease it out any further. This is potentially good news for future road developments. We know there's a lot of roads needed in Donegal, the 10T bypasses and all that kind of stuff. And there has been a bit of resistance from the Greens to fund some of these roads or equate it to then spending on sustainable travel and public transport and what have you. It seems that Minister Eamon Ryan, though, is being sidestepped now, and around $6 million in funding for roads is being found. Funds the Green Minister had refused to sanction, the Irish Daily Mail can reveal. The major road projects that had been through the tendering process had been paused as they were not being adequately funded to proceed. Speaking to the Irish Daily Mail in New York this week, Mr. Ryan was adamant that no new funding would be allocated until January next year. However, in a dramatic turnaround, the Mail can reveal that within 24 hours of the Minister's remarks, Transport Infrastructure Ireland has now found the funding to finance 4 of the 10 roads in the pipeline. I'll go to page 4 here. Ryan viewed as politically embarrassing after he definitely ruled out roads funding just one day previously. Also comes as rows intensify over the government again launching its own spending rule in the budget. So as I say, it relates to some current roads that have gone to tender, but it might bode well for those who like roads into the future. The awful scenes in the Middle East continue overnight. Chaos strikes a gridlocked highway yesterday. Tens of thousands flee southern Lebanon after another barrage of deadly Israeli missiles. This is the Irish Daily Mirror. Dozens were killed in overnight raids, including 2 UN staff, a day after 492 people lost their lives. Roads in the town of Damur, 20 kilometres south of capital Beirut, were blocked as families headed north. Many crammed into trucks and also sat on top of vehicles. Israeli strikes on the Nuseirat refugee camp in central Gaza reportedly resulted in deaths and injuries, including children. The attacks came as Ireland urged the US to stop supplying weapons to Israel while calling for a ceasefire in Gaza, the Taoiseach said. And at the same time, and this is not a reflection on, this is not necessarily, I'm not talking about who's good and who's bad in this situation, whether you support Israel, whether you support the Lebanese, or whether you support Russia, or whether you support Ukraine. But we have a situation whereby, you know, I was watching a video yesterday and I don't understand it, and I don't understand the state of humanity, and maybe I'm an outlier in this, but There was a video opportunity for the press yesterday in America whereby politicians were signing bombs. And I've seen the Russians do this as well. And I've seen Israelis do this also, by the way. So this, as I say, it's not about any particular group. It's about humanity. That it's a press call for people to stand around signing their names on bombs. And many of these bombs are launched pretty indiscriminately and blowing children to bits and robbing them of any future that they may have and killing innocents. And you've got people in suits, and they were in suits, and they are often in suits, gloating and signing their names on these bombs. I don't care who you're for. Is there not something fundamentally inhumane about that you're standing there gleefully signing something that could very easily and often does rob children and women of their lives? I mean, there's a different argument if it's against, combatants. I still don't think it's very humane at all, to be honest with you. But just as a press conference there in a civilized state signing bombs, to me it seems very unfortunate, to say the very least, and something this world needs to be moving away from, I would have thought. The Irish Daily Star this morning, new pictures of the half-finished National Children's Hospital were released last night as Sinn Féin blasted the government for not taking responsibility for ballooning costs and delays. And it also came as confidential report cast doubt on the operational readiness of the hospital, claiming the management teams to run the facility are not in place. This is something I was referencing yesterday. The pictures were released by the National Paediatric Hospital Development Board ahead of its appearance at the Oireachtas Health Committee today. They showed large parts of the hospital, which will have over 6,000 rooms when finished, have yet to be completed. This included several snaps of the inside of the hospital where work is still underway. So the hospital's not finished. Okay, and the problem now is that there is a difficulty in whether or not the management teams are in place to actually run it when it is being run. And there is supposed to be some preparedness going on at the moment from people within the health service. And I'm dumbing it down a little bit because I don't fully understand it. But basically what I believe it to be is those who are responsible for perhaps getting this hospital ready for use and putting in the measures that would be required are so busy in the health system currently that they're not able to focus on that work. And that will be revealed a little bit more in today's Oireachtas hearings. There's another story about overspending here in the Star. It's right next to that story. Over a third of the €336,000 cost of the infamous Leinster House bike shelter was spent on steelworks. The Oireachtas Commission, which oversees the running of Leinster House, was yesterday given a cost breakdown of the shed, which can store 36 bikes. But it doesn't. You might store them, but it doesn't protect them from the elements. It heard that €121,000 was spent on steel, and that the cost of the granite was in the region of €45,000. The OPW said surveying work amounted to 11,000, while the outer work on the shelter came in at 11,000. Wow, that's a lot of money for not much steel. Maybe steel's that price at the moment, I don't know. Actually, and I'd also already highlighted that story in the Sun, so we can move straight on. All right, that was a run through some of the stories in the newspapers today. We'll be back with our first item on this show after we take this short break. Stay right where you are.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Has your child recently started school? Donegal County Library, in partnership with First Five, a whole-of-government strategy to improve the lives of babies, young children and their families, is here to support this big step. Visit your local library and you can pick up a free little library book bag and their very own library card. There's one for every child starting school, available now at your local library, an initiative of the Government of Ireland in association with Libraries Ireland and Donegal County Library.
Knock, knock. Who's there? €130 million! That's who! I'm not even joking! The Euro Millions Mega Draw is back on Friday the 27th of September with a guaranteed jackpot of €130 million!
The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun.
Ready to transform your smile? Discover the magic of Blue Poppy Dental in Letterkenny and Donegal Town. With implantologists, surgical and cosmetic dentists, orthodontists and an endodontist all under one roof, we've got all your dental needs covered. Starting your journey is easy. Call us on 074 91 20355 or book your appointment online anytime through our user-friendly patient portal at bluepoppydental.com. Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics, where smiles shine brighter.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring biggest ever sale. Up to 50% off everything in store. All tiles, all wood flooring, all outdoor slabs, cladding and bathware. Everything slashed in price. This sale is not to be missed. The Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring biggest ever half-price sale is now on.
Do you own an XL Bully? If so, it's important to know that ownership laws are changing. From October the 1st, it's illegal to import, breed, sell or rehome an XL Bully. If you own one, you can apply for a certificate of exemption from your local authority between October the 1st, 2024 and February the 1st, 2025, which allows you to keep your dog until the end of its natural life. Find out more at gov.ie/XL Bully. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time's 18 minutes past 9. We're joined on the programme now by adult education teacher with Donegal ETB, Finn McGeehan. Good morning to you, Finn. Thanks so much for your time today.
Good morning, and thank you, Greg.
Right, okay. Now, we've spoken in the past on this programme in relation to what was described as poor conditions experienced by teachers in the adult education sector. A new contract was then agreed with unions and the department and was activated by Donegal ETB, but there's more to this story. So just to catch listeners up, if you don't mind, Finn, what were the problems last year and how far did this new contract go to address those problems?
Okay, thank you, Greg. So the problem was, well, the state of the contracts before that tutors or teachers in the adult education sector were on part-time contracts. However, they were doing full-time work. And the terms and conditions were positively Victorian. I mean, we weren't being paid bank holidays. We were getting very little holiday pay. There was hardly any sick pay. It was, we were only being paid contact time. That is to say that if you're not an educator, that you're not paid for the preparation time, all the time that that we work that people don't see. So for example, for every hour you stand in a classroom, you spend at least 45 minutes, if not another hour for every hour saved. So a contract was agreed with the Department of Further Education, and this contract put us finally onto a proper pay scale, and gave us, much better terms and conditions. However, these terms and conditions weren't perfect. It was a point of departure more than anything. It did afford us a much better rate, but however, it was, it did kind of punish people who were already on permanent contracts. The pensions were, there was a lack of clarity over the pensions. It could have been, you might as well have been reading Finnegan's Wake. You couldn't understand a thing.
So it wasn't necessarily for everyone. There was some improvements. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than what was there in the first instance. And before we go on to the next stage of this story, Finn, again, for those who may not be aware, and I have to make sure I'm included in that as well, what would your typical adult education teacher role be? Like, who are they working with? In what environments are they working?
Now, we often work out of centres, so Donegal BTB, I think it has about, 5 or 6 areas. And, we have centres like in Gortahork, and then there's one Donegal Town, Buncrana, Letterkenny, Stranora as well. And we also work in outreach as well, like where we rent rooms and, tutors travel to places where, especially I work, for example, in Gidor in West Donegal, and there's a fair bit of travel involved. Okay. And we often work with the more vulnerable, more marginalized people in society, adults who may have had poor experiences with our educational institutions in the past, people from marginalized communities, with refugees, this is our purpose. This is our purpose, is to help people reintegrate in, to create them a path to, to employment and self-fulfillment.
Yes, and inclusion in society. If there were literacy skills, or maybe they went through difficult times through their schooling and what have you. I get you. Right, so the contract was agreed with the unions and the department, and Donegal ETB activated this agreement. But it's now been frozen. What's going on there?
Now, it was frozen. Now, we in September, when we all turned up to work on the 2nd of September, we were guaranteed that we were on the clock, so to speak. Those are the words of our adult education officer who took the meeting, who chaired the meeting. We were explained, we were told about all the details of the pay structure, and that we could expect our first salaries in October. Now, on Monday morning, we all got an email stating, in no uncertain terms, a very cold email, I might add, that there were problems with our payroll system, our PLSS system, that Donegal ETB had problems aligning to the national system, because all ETBs are connected nationally, and there had been no guarantee of funding from Solus, which is the state agency which is responsible for adult education, and from the Department of Higher Education.
That is more significant. I mean, obviously you would hope if there were technical issues that they could be ironed out, that could be temporary, but no commitment of funding from Solus seems to undermine the potential for this agreement altogether.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I mean, like, my aim here today is just to throw light on this problem, because I think we're being provided with very, very, very vague and generic responses. And being a teacher, I'm very, very good at spotting an excuse. By now,
So what does this mean then for adult education teachers? I mean, some of them could have realigned their lives to take account of their improved conditions. I don't know if that's a typical or an extreme example, but in any case, they would have been anticipating better terms and indeed, by the sounds of it, conditions. So what impact then is this having on teachers?
Now, I'll talk for myself. I can only talk for myself here. I've been forced now back onto the old hourly rate, and my hours in the meantime have been cut. And this is going to entail that I personally am going to face hardship this winter. I am going to struggle making a car repayment. I am going to struggle with my young child. It is absolutely, sorry for the emotion here, but this is my family, and this is not just me. This is replicated all around the country. This is absolutely unacceptable and disgraceful.
Why were your hours cut?
They say like apparently their budget cuts have been made.
Okay.
And no other, and I haven't had any other any other explanation.
So instead of having a more an income that is more steady, hopefully improved and more predictable, you've actually been told now effectively from Monday that you not only are going backwards, but you're going backwards further, that your hours are being cut. You are only being paid for your contact hours, of course. You're actually in a worse situation than you were before all of this began. And yet you're facing into an autumn and winter of discontent, having to meet all the responsibilities that many of us do have to meet.
Yes, it really beggars belief. It's going backwards. It's I have no words. Greg.
I mean, you mentioned you mentioned a couple of words earlier on in this conversation as it relates to those that you work with, vulnerable and marginalised. It does sound from what I'm hearing that it's actually now yourself, Vin, and your colleagues that are vulnerable and marginalised.
The irony of it, Greg. The irony of it, yeah. Because I could have accepted, several very, very solid offers of work this summer, and I passed them up to work here only to be punched in the gut, figuratively.
what next then? What course of action do you have? Is this a unique situation between teachers here and Donegal ETB, or is it being replicated with ETBs across the country?
To my knowledge, in at least 6 ETBs, including Cork ETB, Cavan Monaghan ETB, and I can't remember the
That's
rest.
fine. No, in
ETBs
other words, it's not unique to here. So, what has Sulla said about this then, and what are your unions doing about this?
Well, our unions are, I know that the unions are engaging as we speak. And I would, I would also I would also encourage all tutors, if you're not a member of a union, join a union of your choice. Your voice will be amplified within the union. They have the legal people. They have the the negotiators. You're better off here. So the unions are engaging, but let's hope that we can manage to resolve this as promptly as possible, because not having money in winter is not good.
No, and I just hope that obviously, you're highly trained, qualified professionals doing a highly qualified professional job. But obviously, because you do work with those who are vulnerable, there's an element of passion, as there is in all teaching. I hope that's not being exploited, that this is being seen as some sort of a devotion and you'll do it anyway. I mean, I would find it very difficult. It would be only the care of the people that I'm working with. I would find it very hard to motivate myself, to prepare myself for contact time with my clients or students, or however you might call it, with this two-fingered salute from the state.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much spot on there, Greg. It is. You'd expect better. You expect much better from our institutions. This republic was founded on very, very sound values. I think our legislators and our decision makers have to go back. And have to do a bit of soul searching here, not on just this issue. There are many issues.
Yeah, but this is the one that perhaps is more easy for most of us outside of the adult teaching sector to get our heads around. Yeah. If anyone is affected by this or wants to join the campaign, aeto2021@gmail.com, and I'd be interested to hear from other adult education teachers on this as well. And Finn, you shouldn't find yourself in this position. Maybe things looked brighter, now to have the rug pulled under you like this, you and many others on Monday with, as you described, a cold email and facing into, I presume you get no other supports elsewhere, given the work, and now you have this insult to injury, it must feel. Finn, thanks for helping us understand. We'll make our contacts, of course, with the relevant departments to see if they can cast any light on this funding shortfall in this incredibly, amazingly rich country that we have.
Yeah, there's 13 billion that we didn't want there. So
I'd say you have a hole for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Burning a hole in our pockets.
All right, Finn, thanks very much, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Greg.
That's Finn McGeehan there, who is a adult education teacher with Donegal ETB. And they find themselves in a very difficult situation. As I say, if you're a colleague of Finn's and you want to tell your story and add, I suppose, more weight to the campaign, please get in touch with us. We're going to be talking a little later on about a huge amount of funding for sports clubs. It really is, incredibly generous, it has to be said. 13 odd million, and some big bucks going to a lot of sporting organisations around the county, and we'll celebrate that as we've always committed to. When there's good news, it's good news, and this has come from government, and as I say, it's going to make a big difference to a lot of sporting organisations' lives. But there are others then on the sidelines who are looking on saying, right, okay, this is great, we'll benefit from this, but what about us? Some of those messages have been coming in, and one reads, "Hi Greg, why is there no funding for the home help at the minute? I know quite a few people in Letterkenny Hospital that can't get home because there's no home support carers. Also carers, I know it was touched on last week about the waiting list in Donegal, absolute disgrace, and that is a budgeting funding issue. Just to recap, we have people waiting on enhanced home care packages. They've been told indefinitely that you've been okayed for these enhancements, but you're not getting them because the money's run out. And there is also quite a significant waiting list for home care packages here in Donegal. The total is in and around 250. Conversely, elsewhere in the likes of Dublin, zero wait times. In relation to funding for bus escorts, we're still waiting. I emailed Norma Foley 5 times, extensive and detailed emails. I got standard generic replies, and then bingo, her personal secretary responded and informed me that Minister Foley was looking into it and would revert. 3 months later, I got the same information from Pádraig McLaughlin, and Saoirse Clarke, the education spokesperson, got in the door when they tried to get it moved ahead. So disappointed and so disrespectful to us as a group of people doing amazing work all over the country. Another handful of my colleagues emailed Minister Foley's office about 10 days ago and all got standard replies. The department told us way before the summer it would be sorted by September. Now that's gone to the end of the year. $13.40 per hour, no increase in 6 years. Last increase 7 cents an hour. What's to study? In the event of your visiting this subject on your show, I'll nominate someone other than myself to speak, as I am otherwise tied up. Okay, we'll reach out to you, and I'll reach out to you again, of course. This caller goes on to say that even Sinn Féin seems to have given up the ghost, which, as I say, that's a person's passionate view. I'm not saying it's all true, but that's their feeling, so it's true to them. Back with more after these.
Experience total relaxation in the Spa at Orchids at the Holyrood Hotel, Bundoran. Recently awarded Best Hotel Spa Getaway at the RSVP Spa Awards. Enjoy luxury spa baths, revitalising facials, rejuvenating massages, pampering body treatments, outdoor hot tub and tranquil Japanese garden. Visit on a luxury spa day, pop in for some me time or buy the perfect present with a gift voucher. Relax and let the Spa at Orchids transport you to another world. See holyroodhotel.com.
Join me, Marty Friel, every Friday night from 8 for Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7, where you can enjoy dinner and drinks in the Woodbury Grill, Bar and Restaurant before bowling in Arena 7's state-of-the-art lanes. See arena7.ie.
Attention Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. PD Bathrooms and Tiles are proud to unveil our newest and most stunning showroom in Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana. Located right opposite the Northwest Golf Course, we offer unbeatable quality and incredible value. For 30 years, we've been the experts in total refits, stocking and serving as the sole agent for many top brands. Visit us today and transform your space with the finest bathroom and tile solutions. Telephone 93 95 884. PD Bathrooms and Tiles, where excellence meets value. Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana, F93H10F.
At the heart of every successful business are highly skilled and talented people. That's why at SkillNet Ireland, we know that every skill counts. Whatever sector your business operates in and whatever skills you or your business needs, contact one of our 70 SkillNet business networks for training and development that's industry-led and can improve your business success. Visit skillnetireland.ie for upskilling and reskilling supports to develop your team. SkillNet Ireland is a business support agency of the Government of Ireland.
Big news for upwards of 100 sporting clubs and organisations around the county. Revealed last night local allocations €9.2 million, and there's a whole host, far too extensive a list, 78 in fact, to go through. Donegal Regional Grant, a further close on 3 million. The ATU Donegal Gym Extension, almost $500,000 there. Ballyshannon Leisure Centre, 190,000. For Finn Valley AC, campus development there, $500,000. And on it goes for smaller, I'll just pick out some of these, for smaller organisations. A Ballabafay Golf Club, 181,000 for a fairway mower and to develop natural playing surface. Buncrana GEA all-weather playing area, €160,000. As I say, I'm just picking some out here. Dunlow GEA Club, they're getting 118,000 for the installation of floodlights. Neve Nanya, 170,000 euro for work on their facilities. Deal Hops Football Club, construction of dressing rooms, toilets and showers, 200,000 euro. More for Donegal Golf Club, that's Merver of course, 113 grand for a sustainable future. Glenay United Football Club, 85,000 for pitch development there. Floodlights at Glenswilly GEA Club as well, 130, and on it goes, as I say, 78 of those. There's been a broad welcome, of course, from those within government, as it is the government that announced these. Amongst them, Pat the Coke Gallagher, who's a candidate for Fianna Fáil in the upcoming election for the Dáil. I mean, we've done quite well out of sports capital grants in the past. Pat, a particularly favourable allocation this year.
Yeah, I believe this is to be the largest allocation of grants to the various clubs throughout the county, from Gaelic, soccer, community centres, golf, clubhouses, floodlights, athletic tracks, and of course I do believe that it wouldn't be as successful, despite the money that's available, if not for the professional attitude of all of the clubs now. So different from years ago when there were paper applications. Now the applications have to go in online, and it's just not a simple process. But it's full credit to the clubs who do it so professionally. And of course they have to ensure they have planning permission in advance. There's title in relation to the land, and of course they must have funding themselves to get over the first stage before the first drawdown of funds from the department.
And that's a big part of it, isn't it? As you say, you know, these clubs and organisations, incredibly professional, have gone through the application process. They are successful, but often then, if not exclusively, it requires local fundraising and the efforts of volunteers in the community, who really are the lifebloods of our communities. They have to do their lifting as well.
Yes, of course, and you have to prove to the department that there is funding available to commence the work, whether it's by way of funds that are raised or by way of bank loans or credit union loans. It's all so professional, and I think it's a great credit to all of those who have secured funds at this time. As you've said, over almost 12 million when you take the regional allocations into consideration. It's exceptional, and of course sport is so important. There's a health factor to it as well, and anyone who's involved in sport, then I do believe that they're much healthier as a result of it. And it's just not as it was in the old days when it was adults who were involved. There are children now from a very early age. There's facilities being provided for them by all of these clubs. Yeah,
not necessarily to be negative, but maybe to sort of source advice. Obviously, as you've mentioned, not everyone was successful. Amongst them, Kildrum Tigers, a representative contacted me to say, I'm interested to know how the sports capital grants work. We put in an application. It took an immense amount of work and effort from us as volunteers to put the application together, and we were awarded nothing. We're based in St Johnstone, which would be a very disadvantaged area. We didn't ask for much, just enough to help drain our training pitch to the amount of 30,000. I'd be most grateful if you could let me know what exactly we have done wrong and why we haven't been awarded anything. We are doing our utmost to build a future for the children in our area, with a huge focus at the moment on building girls football. To say we are disappointed is an understatement. As I say, I'm not asking you necessarily, Pat, to comment specifically on that case, but have you any advice or I presume sympathy for those at Kildrum Tigers,
Of course, and that's very understandable that Kildrum Tigers are disappointed, but my advice to them would be to contact the department's office in Kerry and to ascertain from them why they fell short, and I believe that the minister should then allow a review for applications that fell short, and I certainly would be making that case to Minister Thomas Byrne at the first opportunity, and I will certainly mention Kildrum Tigers, but I think the initiative has to be taken by themselves, and then we can, with other public representatives, we can pursue this.
Yeah, so in other words, engage with the decision makers, find out why it was unsuccessful, and if you can build on it from there, do so through the likes of your offices. That's what your advice would be, effectively.
Well, of course, yeah. I'm not back in public office yet, but I'm a candidate now. I'm a candidate now, and I certainly will be happy to work with any that club or indeed any other clubs who weren't successful.
Okay, thanks very much for that. That's Fianna Fáil candidate Pat the Coke Gallagher. John McNulty is a Fine Gael candidate in the forthcoming general election as well. And of course, John, you're coming from this from a political perspective, but also with your strong sporting background, you can see the benefit this will have to the many GEA clubs and other sporting organisations across the county.
That's right, Greg. I think it's great news for the county and for all the successful clubs, especially across the whole county, because it's huge in my mind. Obviously, I'm big in sport and I like nearly every sport, but I see the value in it all, especially when you look at Donegal and you say the weather and everything that we have. There's a lot of facilities that are needed during the wet weather and I suppose the long nights, and the floodlights and the weather pitches and AstroTurfs and all that are great for everybody, because it means that we can work on it all year, whatever you're doing in your fitness level or whatever you want to do. And again, as I say, the mental and physical well-being of people, you can't underestimate what sport brings to that. And it's not even the sport. Sometimes it's just the enjoyment that's with it, and the meeting up with people, and it's a whole community. So I think it's wonderful news for the county, and I would like that to continue from every year, that and everybody to improve their facilities, and that we can be top class with everything that we do in the county.
All right, John, I appreciate your time as well, I do. But a caller says, this is ridiculous. These men are not elected and are on claiming this is good news, like they had something to do with this allocation of this money. They are not in government and played no part in securing this money. It's false advertising on their behalf. I'm sure you made representations, John, did you?
Oh, well, I mean, all I'm really doing today is welcoming the funding. Obviously, I'm a general election candidate. I'm not claiming it, or I wouldn't try to claim anything. Really the work goes into all the people that really put in the hard work, the application forms, and done that hard work at the grassroots to get that in. And that's very welcome news for those people. And I'm just delighted for them. And all really I'm doing is just welcoming the funding for the county. And I think it's great for everybody that was successful. And as I said, just to touch on the people we say that weren't successful, look, I think maybe Pat alluded to it there, that if they want to get in touch with me or get in touch with us, I mean, we could see what the situation was regarding the application form, and maybe was there something that was left out, or what the story was, and find out for them and see, is it possible that something could be got for them under appeal.
All right, thanks very much for that. John McNulty is a Fine Gael candidate in the forthcoming election for the Dáil. And obviously I understand where some people are coming in with comments, funding for sports clubs, and yet we can't find funding for teachers like Finn. Can someone explain this to me? I'm afraid it's beyond I. Terman, they are getting 170,000 for a gym studio project. Neve Michael, floodlighting, goalposts and a ball stop, 173 grand. Kilmacrannan Community Development Company, modular building, dressing rooms, phase 1 of that, 170,000. 75,000 for Letterkenny Rovers, 20 grand for Milford Hall Committee. Moville Celtic Football Club, €160,000. No Barriers Foundation, 160,000 for a community inclusion gym refurbishment. Setanta Hurling Club pitch development, 131,000. Finn Harps Cooperative Society for an artificial pitch to help girls soccer in schools, 394,000. Bundoran Golf Club, 40 grand. Neve Podrig GA Club, 25 grand for physio coaches, school board and lawnmower. And on it goes. Okay, that's that. We will be back with more on the 9 till noon show after this break.
The best businesses never stop beginning. So whether you're starting or growing your business, we want to make it easier for you. At Bank of Ireland, our faster, easier online loan applications help your business take the next step. Search Bank of Ireland Business Loans. Bank of Ireland. Begin. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. Over 18s only. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Crawford Tiles and More, Castlefin. Tiles, bathware and wood flooring. The best quality and value in the Northwest. Fully stocked and ready to go. Fitters and delivery available. 10% off for mica affected customers. Don't forget their famous 5-day bathroom fit out. Give Crawford's a call and see what they can do for you on 914342.
Everyone has the potential to save a life. My name is Sean Quinn, Sales Manager in Highland Radio. I now have the confidence to talk directly about suicide after completing Let's Talk About Suicide, a free online suicide prevention training programme from the HSE. Visit hse.ie/Let's Talk to take part.
It's the Metro
mattress sale at Easy Living Furniture. With all mattresses reduced, gift yourself a better night's sleep with free delivery and disposal on mattresses over $499 at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, Easy Living has it all. Easy Living Furniture. Luxury furnishings, affordable luxury.
Sometimes it's just bad luck, but sometimes it's negligence. From minor bumps to life-changing injury, every accident has a story. Time to call McElhenney and Associates. They'll assess the situation, advise on solutions, and lead the way if any litigation is to follow. From motor accidents and workplace accidents to slips, trips and falls, call today on 074 917 5989 or find us online. Let's get you started on the road to recovery. McElhenney and Associates Solicitors, Stranorlar. How can we help? In contentious business, a solicitor may not calculate fees or other charges as a percentage or proportion of any award or settlement.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhenney's. Support a local Donegal business with McElhenney's. From fashion to home essentials, find everything you need for any occasion. Shop McElhenney's Ballybuffet for quality you can trust.
Okay, today will be dry with brighter sunny spells. Highest, it's disappeared on me. Highest temperatures of 11 or 12 degrees with light to moderate northeast winds. And what a day to love Donegal. But we love Donegal all year round, don't we? And Love Donegal Day is running today in association with Donegal County Council. Together we can share what makes Donegal special throughout the world by using the hashtag Love Donegal. Or a hashtag Donegal Aboo. Now, or Donegal Aboo. Now, the key here is that, you know, what can we do? It's very simple. Just post a lovely picture, post a lovely comment, whatever it might be, on any of your social media platforms, from TikTok to Instagram to Facebook, and use the hashtag Love Donegal, Donegal Aboo. And it's all part of Love Donegal Day, and it's part of celebrating what's good about our county and getting the message out across the world. It's an important day in the calendar for the region. It gives everyone with a connection to Donegal an opportunity to enjoy, celebrate and love Donegal. And throughout the day, we're going to be crossing to different parts of our beautiful county. We're going to be going over to Donegal Airport a little later on in the programme. Corinne is there. We'll link in with her and chat to guests at around about 10:45, and also a little later on the north, around the northwest, the team will be out and about, and also on Jive Time around the country. So take a picture, share a story, whatever it might be, across any of your social medias, but please use the hashtags either or both. Hashtag Love Donegal or hashtag Donegal Aboo. And in the past, these hashtags have trended right around the world. And what that means is that your pictures, your comments, your whatever you post about what you love about this county reaches people in all four corners of the world. So I think it's a great thing to be involved in. Barry is with me now. Hiya, Barry.
Hey, Greg.
Thanks for joining us. Right, Barry, you sent us an email, didn't you, as it relates to, well, I don't know how to frame it. It seems to be just the government's use of public funds.
It is, yeah. It is. It's just listening to the Camcordia the last day, talking, Greg, about how they were embarrassed and that they would learn from their mistakes, and it's the same old, we'll learn from our mistakes thing. In the letter, or in the email I sent you, it was basically outlining a few of their overspends, like the Children's Hospital 540 million, your unused PPE gear of 415 million, unused voting machines of 55 million, storage for them machines of 14 million, printers at 808,000 that don't fit into a building, bike sheds at 336,000. It's just it's an apology after apology every time they make these mistakes. And what I was saying in the email is, any other walk of life or any other job that you would have, if you make a mistake of that magnitude, you're gone, you're sacked, you're not there anymore.
And it's often the case, Barry, that we have to learn after the fact. Like, would we ever have known about the bike shed if someone hadn't found the information and published it? Would there ever have been an apology? Would there ever have been an investigation into how we can spend, over €300,000 on a bike shed that actually doesn't really protect bikes from the elements? You know, it's often, talking about things after the fact because we got found out.
It is, yeah, and it's also that whenever they make the apology, times you make an apology whenever it's a mistake, Greg, but a mistake is something that you do by accident. That's, to me, it's like organised corruption. Who in their right mind thinks or gives the go ahead for a bike shed to be built at 336,000?
I mean, obviously, everything you've said up until now, many people would agree with you, but you also will look at this from a different perspective because you're looking at this level of irresponsible spending at the same time as having to deal with being a victim of the defective concrete block crisis. And does that make it more difficult for you, do you think?
It does. It makes it more unbearable. Like them few mistakes, as they call them few mistakes that they have made, Greg, they're over €1 billion worth of mistakes. €1 billion. Like you're talking about 2,000 homes of mistakes. 2,000 homes, not houses, homes. Yet they put everybody through jumping through hoops and worrying about whether they can afford to rebuild a house, and even taking the defective concrete part out of it. The homelessness, €1 billion would go a long, long way, Greg, and sorting a lot of the homeless problem out.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it's corruption. It is corruption because there's no other way to look at it. If you're paying 336,000 for a bike shed that a company down the country has said they would use the same materials and do the same job for 40,000, it's corruption. It's it's cronyism.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm taking your point of view. I'm not necessarily agreeing with you. That's not my job. I'm just trying to tease out the views with you. As you say, you're one of those who, I presume, there's a shortfall for you. And then when you look at this, relatively modest bike shed, and you think that could provide you and probably 4 or 5 others with a return of your family home with no actual cost to you as victims of this, blame-free victims, that would sicken me, I think.
Oh yeah, it would. Like we know that we're going to be, when we have been given the go-ahead for demolition, and we have been given our granted amount, but we also know that we are going to have to come up with between 70 and 100,000 to rebuild our house. As you say, that's put it like this: if you that bike shed for an extra 60,000, they're expecting us to build our house on top of the price of that bike shed. It doesn't make sense, and that is what angered me. Whenever the apology from Cancolia is what angered me, because I just thought there's apology after apology. There's years of apologies, and they just keep doing the same thing. And expect the public to pick up bill for everything.
And you seem to have a distrust in the ability to responsibly spend the likes of the 13 billion.
Yeah, 13, they say plus interest. So you're looking at 16 billion euro. Can you trust a group of people who spend 336,000 on a 40,000 job to allocate 16 billion? It would seriously worry me as to what they're going to do with it.
Okay.
Because they obviously have their contractor friends and contractor groups that they give these jobs out to, and are guaranteed by the looks of things to get these jobs no matter what their price is. So yeah, that would worry me whenever there's 16 billion there. That would sort a lot of problems out. They've always talked about the defective lock problem going to cost 3 billion. If the government were in charge of it, it would cost a lot more than that. But at 3 billion out of that 16 billion would sort out nearly all of the problem that is in Donegal with defective concrete.
Okay.
But they won't do that. They're saying they're going to spend it in infrastructure. The infrastructure
well,
where?
homes are infrastructure, but I do take your point. Barry, listen,
They are.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I understand your frustration. Some will agree, others will disagree, but that's democracy and we can have our views. Thanks, Barry. That's Barry there, very frustrated. Frustrated is a word, but you know what I mean with the situation. Right, just before we head towards the news at 10, Greg, when is the yellow box going to be put on the roundabout at the mountain top? It won't stop bad drivers, but it might help. It's constantly blocked by traffic coming from the Kilmacrennan area into Letterkenny, and they refuse to stop and sit on the roundabout blocking it. And of course, you have this complication of 3 lanes effectively trying to go into one. Actually, it's 4 lanes effectively trying to go into one. There have been proposals to put yellow box on roundabouts. I'm not sure if it was that one, but certainly the one below Mountaintop here in the past, and they were rejected. The TI looked at it and didn't think it was the right thing to do. So I would say don't hold your breath unless something's happened between now and then that I don't know about. Right, it is your 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. We're going to take a break for the news and obituary notices. I'll chat to you after those.
Join John Breslin and the Highland Radio outside broadcast team from 12 until 2:30 p.m. on Thursday, September 26th for the grand opening of Efficient Renewables' new showroom starting at 11 a.m. Discover solar panels, heat pumps, SEAI grants and carbon neutral solutions. Meet experts from EcoForest, ProAir and the Credit Union with the ribbon cutting at 1:15 p.m. That's at Efficient Renewables Main Street, Newton Cunningham this Thursday.
You've heard of the egg muffin, but have you heard of the gloriously delicious Centra egg muffin with the legendary Super Queen sausage? An Irish national treasure. The egg muffin is a sizzling new addition to Centra deli counters around the country, meaning breakfast just got so much better. Centra, live every day.
I've just had the Eclipse Cinemas experience. Wow, they truly have taken a night at the movies to a whole new level. Amazing recliner chairs, director's lounge VIP rooms, pizza and hot food served to your seat. Have a glass of wine and enjoy the film on the big screen. Try it for yourself at Eclipse Cinemas Bundoran and Lifford Strabane, where the stars shine brighter. By the way, the pizzas are amazing. You can book your seat anytime at eclipsecinemas.ie.
Imagine a wedding venue that can be hired exclusively for you and your guests. Picture stunning views overlooking one of Donegal's most scenic beaches, an authentic country manor as your accommodation, incredible glass-fronted marquee views all day, and a team of experts who want to help you plan every step of the way. Sounds too good to be true? Not at Drumhalla House in Rathmullen. It really has to be seen to be believed. Visit drumhallahouse.ie or check out Drumhalla House on Instagram for more details.
Keep out the cold, cold, cold! And ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
The Donegal Pedigree Cheviot Sheep Breeders are hosting their show and sale of pedigree rams, hogget yos and yo lambs at Stranorlar Mart on Wednesday 25th of September, with the show at 5 p.m. and the sale at 7. All rams SIS approved. This ad is kindly sponsored by Temple Trailers Raffo. That's the Cheviot Sheep Sale this Wednesday 25th of September at Stranorlar Mart, with over 60 SIS approved rams on offer.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The Taoiseach says he wants to see investigations into the Creeslough disaster completed before deciding the next steps. Micheál Martin's intervention follows yesterday's statement on behalf of the families of 7 of those who lost their lives, calling for a public inquiry. They say the cause of the explosion is still not known to them despite the ongoing Garda investigation. 4 men, 3 women and 3 children, ranging in age from 5 to 59, died in the tragedy almost 2 years ago. Speaking at the UN in New York, Taoiseach Micheál Martin was reluctant to say whether he would favour an inquiry at this point in time.
It's a terrible tragedy. It does need the fullest of examinations, but I'd like to see the outcome of the reports that are currently and the investigations, the outcome of those, bring them to a conclusion, and then to see whether we could proceed to an inquiry.
The families who issued the statement also want to meet with the Justice Minister Helen McEntee. One of those who lost their lives was 14-year-old Leona Harper. Her mother Donna says the families just want to know what caused the tragedy.
We're all calling for a public inquiry because we just want to get to the truth as to what happened to our loved ones.
it's 2 years now on the 7th of October, and we don't know anything, or we don't know what's going on. So as a family and as a group, we decided to call for this public inquiry, and I think we deserve it.
A security alert in the Carnhill area of Derry has forced a number of residents to evacuate their homes. Authorities have established cordons around the affected area, and police remain on the scene this morning. While limited details are available, the situation is ongoing and updates will be provided as more information becomes available. A man is due in court in Derry charged with dangerous driving and a number of drug-related offences. The PSNI say those charges include being concerned in the supply of Class A and Class B controlled drugs. Donegal County Council is under pressure to address litter problems in Ballybofey. Local councillor Dakota Nick Venman has highlighted the lack of bins on Navanny Street, particularly during popular football matches. While the increased footfall from these events is beneficial for the town, Ms Nick Venman is emphasising the importance of maintaining the high standards set by the local Tidy Towns group. She believes providing more litter bins will help keep the area clean and tidy.
When anybody comes and say they go to a takeaway, like, they have nowhere to put their rubbish and they're forced to either carry it with them, or in most cases what ends up happening is it ends up being littered. And just Finn House is such a good attraction to our town. I think we should try to keep it up the tidiness of the town, because more people will come back to Finn House if they see how tidy it is. They'll not come back if it's very messy.
More details are to be provided today regarding the spending decisions behind the controversial bike shelter in Leinster House. Members of the OPW are due before the Finance Committee this afternoon to face questions on the project, which cost €336,000. It's emerged a third of the cost was spent on glass and steel for the structure. And the latest delays to the National Children's Hospital are being scrutinised today. The Oireachtas Health Committee will hear claims the main contractor on the project, BAM Construction, has shown complete disregard for sick children, young people and their families. The Chief Executive of the National Paediatric Hospital Development Board will outline how BAM has moved its completion date 14 times in the past 4 years. Well, Martin Conway is a member of the Health Committee, and he's hoping that they'll get the information they're seeking. Looking at the weather forecast, mainly dry with bright or sunny spells today, the best of those in the northwest. Top temperatures 10 to 12 degrees Celsius, light to moderate northeast winds. Rain will gradually spread westwards to most areas overnight. Lowest overnight temperatures 5 to 8 degrees Celsius with light to moderate northerly winds. Tomorrow Thursday, mostly cloudy with outbreaks of rain, possibly heavy at times during the morning. That rain will clear later in highest temperatures of 12 to 19 degrees Celsius with moderate to fresh northerly winds. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with local news headlines at 11 o'clock. Check all of today's news, of course, on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Wednesday morning, September 25th. The death has occurred of Kathleen Sharkey, née Doherty, 23 Aberfoyle Crescent, Derry. Kathleen will be reposing at her home today from 2 p.m. until 9 p.m. Funeral leaving there tomorrow at 9:20 to St Patrick's Church, Pennyburn for Requiem Mass at 10 a.m. Interment afterwards in the city cemetery. House private on the morning of the funeral, please. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu if wished to Foyle Hospice. The death has taken place of Michael Barr, 51 Brookhill, Coolmore Road. His remains will be reposing in his home from 3 o'clock today. Funeral from there on Friday at 11:30 for 12 noon Requiem Mass in Our Lady of Lourdes Church, Steelstown. Interment afterwards in St Patrick's Cemetery, Iskaheen Muff. Family time please from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. Donations in lieu of flowers if wished to the Foyle Hospice. The death has taken place of Owen Doherty, only Charlie Kitt, Carrick McGarvey, Derry Beg, originally from Knockastallar. Remains are reposing at the family home with wake from 11 a.m. this morning until Rosary at 8 o'clock. Funeral Mass will take place tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. in St Mary's Church, Derry Beg, with interment afterwards in Maharagallen Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director Facebook page. The death has occurred of Fran Hurley ní Douglas, formerly of Castlegore, Castlederg. Remains are reposing at St Patrick's Church, Castlederg. Requiem Mass is today at 12 noon. Interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. The Mass can be viewed via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Brian Gillespie, 6 Donegal Casey Court, Derry, and formerly of Oakfield, Gallia and Buncrana. Requiem Mass is ongoing at St Eugene's Cathedral. The death has occurred in Queens, New York, USA, of Bridie McMenamin, formerly Corinne Ballybuffet. Remains are reposing at McCool's Chapel of Rest, Ballybuffet, today from 5 p.m, with Rosary at 9 o'clock. Funeral leaving there tomorrow morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass in the Church of Our Lady of Perpetual Succor, Glenfin, at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in Kiltyvogue Cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on mcnmedia.tv. The death has occurred of Yvonne Murphy ní Magedigan, Templetown, Carlingford, Louth, formerly of Kilconnell Glebe, Kilmacrennan, Donegal, reposing at her home. Removal this morning at 10:20 to St James's Church Grange, arriving for funeral mass at 11 a.m. Burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. House private, please, before the funeral. The death has taken place of Joe Hannigan, 608 Calais Carrigans. Funeral cortege leaving his late residence this morning at 10:20, going to All Saints Church in Newton Cunningham for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Mass can be viewed on newtoncalaiparish.com. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to Medical 3 Unit, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Kelly's funeral directors. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio.
Yeah, we're good mates, yeah. Look, I'm always there for him, 100%, through thick and thin. And sure, he likes having me around. Anytime he's going out, I'll get the shout, you know? And someday, I'll probably kill him.
Smoking isn't the friend you think it is. Quit for 28 days and start taking back control. Find out how at quit.ie or free phone 1800 201 203 from the HSE.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Good morning. It's good to have you on board. Thanks for all your comments coming in so far this morning. Hi, Greg. Regarding the story about the 50,000 apartments delayed in Dublin by builders holding the state to ransom. Firstly, we don't have enough builders in the country to build the level of social housing at the rate required to deal with the crisis. I was told, and I can't remember who told me, I think it might have been Deputy Pearse Doherty. I don't want to wrongly attribute that to anyone. That actually there are builders. I'm not saying there's not enough, but that construction companies are actually laying people off. A colleague on say it would make absolute sense for the government to come to an agreement with China, who during COVID built hospitals in weeks, whereby we contract with Chinese building firms to take on the work. The workers are given work visas for the term of the project and seen as international postings, i.e. paid through the home company in China as at Chinese rates. The state could offer a bonus rate higher than the workers would receive in China to incentivise workers to come. The workers' food and accommodation as well as an allowance is paid on top of their wage. This would resolve the issue of a lack of builders, reduce building costs, and I've no doubt make the Irish builders think twice about holding the state to ransom if indeed that's what they're doing. I'm not really sure that would fit with procurement. It seems like a good idea on the face of it. It seems anti-EU in the way tendering has to be done, but I'm not sure about that. Wonderful to get a windfall for sports on Love Donegal Day. Must be the most generous financial support since we had a Minister for Sport in Donegal, and I think it's actually the highest ever. Question for Greg: do we know the name of the company that built the bike shed? It's probably out there somewhere. I can try and dig that out for you. Greg, you'll probably dismiss this comment as irrelevant, but the parallel between the suffering and killing in Gaza and other places by war and the killing of babies by abortion is being ignored. When the humanity of the child in the womb doesn't matter, so it follows that no one lives matter. When good people do nothing and close their eyes and ears to the horrors of the present day killing, then of course evil thrives and grows. And I think this might be the same person who I read their comments every single time, but they generally seem to start with me being dismissive of the comment as irrelevant. of course not. I've just read it. That's your point of view, and you're perfectly entitled to it. Greg, sports capital funding is a specific fund for sport and recreation. It's not funding that can be diverted elsewhere. Let's face it, health is a bottomless pit due to mismanagement. To the begrudgers, are they volunteers for their local clubs? Do they be out selling lottos every week just to keep the club in operation? Do they think we want to be out selling tickets? No, we're doing it in a voluntary basis, providing the facilities for kids and adults, and do amazing work in it. And can I just say, by the way, I've received 0 comments, and if I read them out in a way that it sounded like this, I apologise. I've read 0 comments that believe the Sports Capital Grants money should be spent elsewhere. The only comments I've read is from people who've been campaigning for funding for a while, and they're saying, this is great, it's good, we'll benefit from this, but we're still waiting for funding for our cause. So I don't think anyone is being disrespectful to the fantastic work of volunteers and others within sports clubs. Just a couple of comments stating that this is great, but, what about us? Funding for sports clubs, trying to buy votes so that Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael can get our young people to sign up to NATO is quite the link. But it has to be said, though, obviously this is money that's been allocated from those parties, but people from all different political backgrounds will benefit from it as well. And you can expect to see generous announcements in the run-up to a budget, and I think all parties will end up in the same boat. Gregory has once more demonstrated his inability to appreciate other people's views and focuses more on his own personal views. When will he accept that he is there to present a radio show in an unbiased fashion and not to take advantage of being the host of a popular radio station to promote his own views of the views of the very people who are the lifeline of Highland? Now, I'm not really quite sure specifically what that relates to, so if you want to text back, I would be very grateful. I'm here to spark conversation, play devil's advocate, and move conversation around. I am not necessarily bound to sit here saying nothing either, by the way, but it's not a platform I use for any particular reason. But there you go, I appreciate it. But as I say, if you want to text back and let me know as to what directly you're referring to, I'd greatly appreciate it. Right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show after these.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 25th of September. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S13. It's game number 39. The numbers are 26, 21, 17, 57, 80, 60, 45, 48, 23, and finally 58. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com. Ensure the safety of your team with SafeTech. We have part-funded courses in first aid, people moving and handling, confined spaces, food hygiene, quad bikes, fire warden, iPath MUPS, electrofusion, welding and machinery cards for Ireland and UK sites. Also delivering online courses like utilities, water hygiene and construction supervisors. SafeTech can deliver group training at your business premises. To find out more, contact safetech.ie today.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny Clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who aren't able to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
We're joined on the programme by the Minister of State with responsibility for credit unions, financial services and insurance, Minister Neil Richmond. Good morning to you. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Right, some developments in terms of how credit unions operate or what they can do for their members. What's changed?
So I'm announcing today that as of we are introducing phase 3 of the Credit Union Amendment Act. Now, what that means, Greg, is that credit unions will now be able to refer their members onto other credit unions if they don't offer a product. So say if a credit union doesn't offer the Cultivate Ag loan or doesn't offer mortgages, they can refer them onto another credit union, their member onto another credit union. But equally as part of that, the second aspect is that they'll be able to syndicate the loans, so spread out the debt. And the third part is that the boards of credit unions, rather than having to do up their policy document for 1 year, will be able to do it every 3 years. And the final thing I'm announcing is that this year the government is setting the Credit Institution Resolution Fund levy to 0%.
What does it mean that one credit union can refer to another? Is this not bypassing, because that sounds like wrong, but is this to do with membership? In other words, if I'm a member of a specific credit union that doesn't offer that service, why could I not have already gone to another credit union? And pardon my ignorance on this, Minister.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Greg. Well, the credit union is a membership body, so you're a member of your credit union, and the credit union is defined by what's known as a common bond. So if it's a credit union that serves Letterkenny and surrounding areas, it would have to take members who live within that area, or it could be the other form of credit union might be for the teachers union or the HSE or the civil service. But if you happen to live maybe in Guido or somewhere like that, but your credit union is smaller and it doesn't offer Cultivate agricultural loans or indeed a mortgage, you can then be referred on to a neighbouring credit union who can offer that loan to you as a member. So it means that if you're a member of one credit union, you should be able to get all the services provided by all credit unions rather than just the ones offered by the one that you're specifically a member of.
And will there be a benefit then for maybe the smaller credit union or the credit union that doesn't offer particular services to be able to sort of refer their clients?
Absolutely, because they'll still be able to hold on to they're not clients, they're members. The credit union is a membership body, which makes it very different to other financial institutions. They'll still be able to hold on to their member. The member will still be eligible for a dividend. The member will still leave their savings or anything that they may have on deposit in the credit union. So it's really important that a smaller credit union or a credit union who just doesn't have the capacity to offer a specific product, they're not going to lose their members. Whereby if it was a case where the member goes like, well, I need to get a mortgage, maybe I'll look to move my credit union to my account to a different credit union, maybe I'll change address or something like that, or indeed I'll just use a different financial institution, go to a bank or something else. So this way it works well for credit unions of all sizes. It increases the level of cooperation and collaboration, and in phase 4 and 5 of the Act, we're actually going to increase the abilities for credit unions to do a lot more together, which I think is really important, because the key factor is, Greg, up and down the country, credit unions in so many towns and villages, they're the last financial institution left. For so many people, they're the one place that they can still go into in person, that they can still ring up on the phone. I visited Donegal about 3 months ago. It was one of the first counties I visited, and I met all the credit unions from not just Donegal but also Derry came across as well, and it was remarkable. Particularly, I still remember the meeting in Letterkenny with the manager there, who actually is from my own part of the world, but we were going through how he has officials that know literally the names of the children of their members and are able to talk through maybe if they've got into financial difficulty, or maybe they need to know what product they need to help kick on their business or ensure their child's able to go to college.
I mean, I presume this is off the back of representations that have been made to you by the sector, but do you, Anne, what's your anticipation in terms of sign up to this? Do you know this, because this presumably only works, I presume it's an opt-in, if I don't want to mention specific credit unions because we're local here, but say, two neighbouring credit unions, presumably both of them would have to say, right, this is a good idea, this works for us. How big an uptake do you think there might be from institutions to make these services available to the people we're talking to today?
Well, I think this will fill in a lot of the gaps that are out there. This is, as I said, the third part of a Credit Union Amendment Act that was introduced a couple of years ago, and this act is in response to what the sector, what the movement has asked for. And as I said, I've visited most counties in the country at this stage and had credit union roundtables over the last 6 months since I was appointed to this position. And in every single meeting I had, be it the one in Letterkenny or in Cavan Town or way down in Killarney last week, was credit unions asking they want to do more. They want to work more closely together. Credit unions of all sizes, both ones based on a geographic common bond and others on a professional one. They want to do more for their members. And this is what we're doing. We're responding to the sector by enabling them to do more. For the first time since the last couple of years, more credit unions are now offering mortgages. We've seen a 56% increase in take up of those mortgages. So there's an appetite there from consumers, from members, but equally there's an appetite from credit unions of all sizes. And we're very keen from government to champion the credit union sector, as it is the most trusted brand for a reason for the last 2 years. We want to make sure people know that it's there, and we're working with the sector to allow it to do more for them.
And it's probably more relevant to credit unions themselves. But what is the significance of setting the resolution fund levy at 0%? I think for us average Joes, perhaps we even weren't aware of such a levy. But what will the benefits be of that? And is it primarily to the credit unions and their overheads, etc.?
Well, the credit unions, as I said, it's a membership body, so the board will benefit, the members will benefit, the staff will benefit. Basically, credit unions don't have to pay anything into the central fund this year, so they're able to keep that money in their own credit union for use in loans or in products for their members. We have a fund that is a legacy of the crash. We've reached its capacity, so there's no point us taking more money off the credit unions themselves if we don't need to.
All right, one final question, if you don't mind, on insurance. It's a basic enough one, but it comes into shows like this every day. Minister, as I'm sure you're aware, people are frustrated that they're and if this is indeed your responsibility, that the renewals are coming through and they're going up and up and up. Some people it's up 50 quid, some people it's up 300 or 400 quid. Now, some of that can be mitigated against by shopping around, but not all of it. Why are we continuing to seemingly see insurance levies increase when there have been promises that we'd see them go down and other measures introduced to sort of try and ensure that happens?
Well, we're not continuing to see, because it's important to state that if we compare it, say, to 5-10 years ago, motor insurance in particular has come down drastically overall. But I'm not going to deny, in the last 12 months, we have seen an uptick. Very clear reasons for that in terms of inflation costs. The state of cars, if someone's driving an electric car, it just simply costs more to repair than a car would have cost 5 years ago. But we have introduced widespread reforms that have worked in terms of overall, whereas our insurance over the last decade has come down by 10%, motor insurance in Northern Ireland and in GB has gone up by 17% in the same period, which is a crucial thing to remember. And we also have insurance available to businesses now that you simply wouldn't be able to get that 3 years ago. But we continue to implement our reforms, and 95% right there. I've had 23 different meetings with the major insurance companies since I've taken office. We'll continue to engage with them fully to make sure that there are competitive premiums out there as possible, that the reforms are implemented, and we see more and more people going to the Injuries Resolution Board than perhaps the courts. But the more we increase
but
that,
that's not really changing much, is it? The most recent figures I saw, it was like a difference of between 300 in terms of payouts, through the Injuries Resolution Board as not through it.
Well, it is changing, because if you're going to the Injuries Resolution Board, you're saving up. There's no legal fees. There's none of the medical fees that you'd see if it goes to the court system. So whilst the payout figure is generally, about the same, which is what you'd expect, the costs to go through that route are so much lower. So therefore, that doesn't have the knock-on effect on premiums. But it's worth noting that the average motor insurance renewal now is still about €100 less than it was 5 years ago. We're committed to make sure that people feel that, and we're committed to make sure, only in the last couple of months, myself and Helen McEntee introduced new provisions for the Gardaí to make sure that we really tackle the fact that 12% of drivers on our roads, the second highest in the EU, are uninsured. If we bring that down even further, it'll lower the accidents, it'll lower premiums.
I think it's just having trust in the industry to pass on those savings, finally, Minister, and that, I think what irks people most is, we can talk about inflation and where prices were at one point versus now, and definitely went down from 19 to 22. We're starting to see them creep up again, it seems. And you reference inflation, and that's fine, and you're not a spokesperson from the industry, but we, on a very basic level, what we see is us struggling and our costs going up. But even though it's inflationary pressures, we're seeing record profits and huge profits with insurance companies, and that's a circle that consumers find difficult to square.
Yeah, and I understand that. And again, I'm not a spokesperson from the industry, but I do dig into the figures, and I see that the profits aren't related to motor insurance, and in fact actually one insurer, the latest to announce the results, have shown that they didn't make profits last year, so they are delayed. So I think, but absolutely, I meet the representative body, I meet each of the 9 insurers on a quarterly basis, and what I'm really working with colleagues is to bring in even more choice to the market. Just 2 months ago we brought out insurance in, a new motor insurance provider from South Africa, and the more competition we have in the market, the more it will force them to reduce their premiums and react to the needs of the consumer, and we're working on that.
The consumer's role in this, and it's not the consumer's role in this, is shopping around, though, because that's where they feel the competition. All right, then, listen, thanks very much. That's Minister of State with responsibility for credit unions, financial services and insurance, Minister Neil Richmond there. But as I say, you have to shop around, because if you don't, you have that brand loyalty, your premiums stay high, and why do they have to compete with other insurers if you're prepared to pay the higher insurance rate just because you like the company? Of course, today is Love Donegal Day. If you're on social media, take some pictures of our beautiful county, some of the beautiful scenery, or whatever it might be. Tell a tale, anything at all that you think people right around the world would love to hear about Donegal, and use the hashtag Love Donegal or hashtag Donegal Abu across all of your social media. The hashtags work, and what this means is that it starts trending, and then people keep clicking in or tend to click in, and it just either tells people about Donegal for the first time, and hey, they might visit and spend their hard-earned money here, but also too for our friends and family abroad, and they could be abroad many generations. It's an opportunity for them to be reminded how beautiful their home county is. So if you're on social media today, let's get Love Donegal trending. Use the hashtag Love Donegal or hashtag Donegal Abu. We're going to be going around our beautiful county throughout the course of today on John's show and on David's show and also on this show. So before 11 o'clock, we're going to be crossing to what is seen as the most beautiful airport in terms of landing in the world. And who would argue it's Donegal Airport, bringing superb access to the region for many, and also right in the heart of the Wild Atlantic Way. So we're going to be crossing over to Donegal Airport as part of Love Donegal Day in association with Donegal County Council before 11 o'clock. So what can you tweet about? It's quite simple. You can tweet about visiting, travelling and exploring Donegal. You can tweet about the people of Donegal. You can tweet about when I say tweet, posts, X's, whatever they're called, about our landscapes, our coastlines, our islands, our landmarks and scenery of Donegal. And I defy anyone, and also music, music and arts. I defy anyone who has a phone and has used the camera not to have in their gallery a beautiful picture that captures some element of Donegal, be it the people, the culture, the scenery, the businesses, whatever it might be. So get posting on your favourite platform. Hashtag Donegal Abu, hashtag Love Donegal, either or both.
Hamilton is coming to the Bord Gáis Energy Theatre in Dublin. All dates are completely sold out, but Highland Radio have limited spaces available for Monday the 21st of October. Your trip includes luxury transfers, overnight stay at the 4-star City North Hotel Dublin, your ticket to the show, and a shopping trip to Dublin City the next day. To book, call us on 07491 25000 or visit the outlet at highlandradio.com.
From the hard-working New Transit Custom to the new rugged Ford Ranger and the dependable all-new Transit Connect to the reimagined all-new Courier and our new all-electric e-Transit range. Our award-winning Ford Pro commercial vehicle range has now been fully buffed and upgraded. Come and take Ireland's best-selling Ford Pro range for a test drive today. Productivity never looks so good. Browse the full Ford Pro range or book your test drive on Ford.ie. Claim based on latest published SIMI figures. Test drive subject to availability.
If you're heading off on holidays, why not treat yourself to a pair of designer sunglasses? At Louis Walsh Opticians, you'll find a full range of top-name sunglasses at great prices, so you'll look your best while your eyes are properly protected. For a sight test with an OCD 3D scan, contact lenses or a driver's sight report, Louis Walsh Opticians, Letterkenny's longest established and family-run opticians, are located in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. Call 91 21000.
Be a winner
and view the trophy collection at Brian McCormick Sports. Full colour awards, glass and crystal, perpetual cups and shields, sports awards, metal cups and medals. Whatever the occasion, click bmcsports.ie. Budget medals for sports days with personalised inserts to promote your club and school. Full engraving service available at Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny.
Discover the hidden gem of Letterkenny, La Papa Kitchen and Coffee House, where you can indulge with friends in delicious Buddha bowls, pastas, light bites and organic coffee. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Remember the name, La Papa, located next to KO Fitness and McGinley's Furniture on the Joe Boner Road.
Welcome back. A caller says, I got my insurance renewal in the post last week. I was able to get €125 taken off when I went into the local post office, which is good. Anytime you're saving money is good, isn't it? I've ordered from a company in England called Photobox. They've no contact details. I've dealt with them lots with no problems. I ordered 2 photo boxes on Sunday, the first, and they haven't come yet. I was wondering if anyone else has experienced delays with items from England recently. Right, okay. Now, you would have heard that a number of families who lost loved ones in the Creeslough tragedy, the explosion, have called for a public inquiry to be set up. A lawyer representing the families of 7 of the 10 victims of the tragedy in October 2022 has written to Justice Minister Helen McEntee seeking an independent investigation. They've also requested a meeting with the minister. Dara Mackin is the solicitor with Phoenix Law, and he joins us on the programme now. Good morning, Dara.
Good morning, Greg. How are you keeping?
I'm doing good. So how long has this sort of been in the works, so to speak? And how did you come to have contact with families of the 7 deceased?
So a number of weeks back, we were contacted by one of the families to ask if we would assist following the Stardust verdict. Having met with one of the families, it became clear that a number of other families also wished to pursue a similar line of investigation, and that resulted in then the joint instruction to request independent human rights compliant investigation from the Minister. And
tell us exactly, I know you've just outlined it there, more of what you're seeking from the Minister.
So, unfortunately, tragedy of this kind isn't new, and when we see a tragedy of this scale, a state ordinarily responds by ensuring that all lessons are learned and that the truth is uncovered as quickly as feasibly possible. We've seen it in situations such as, the most obvious example is the recent Grenfell tragedy, where the then Prime Minister made clear very early on that a complex criminal investigation such as that would take many years. But what was a priority is ensuring that in the meantime, the families got truth, they got answers, and indeed that lessons could be learned so that the wider public could learn lessons from the tragedy. And Creeslough is no different, indeed, it's all fours in that lessons need to be learned. These families need answers. Many wouldn't believe that as it stands that these families haven't even had confirmation as to the ignition source. They haven't seen any expert reports, and it's indeed an obligation on the state to ensure that those kind of answers are provided to the families, because until you're provided with that kind of information, how can these families grieve for their loved ones?
Would it be unusual for the type of investigation or inquest that you're calling from to happen before, the Garda investigation concludes, for an example?
No, in fact, it's entirely orthodox. I give the example of Grenfell, where the criminal investigation happened in parallel. A second example, in recent times, we've seen the Bill Keneally Commission investigation in Dublin, chaired by Mr. Justice White, where alongside the investigation into the various failings, the criminal investigation continued. And there's a very, very important reason for that. The criminal investigation, the Garda investigation, is limited in scope. It exclusively focuses on criminal responsibility and to ascertain whether any criminal offences have occurred. The Garda can't be criticised for that, but that is not the end of the matter. There are many other questions, there are many other facts that the families would like to know, and indeed the families are entitled to know. And most importantly, at the outcome of a criminal investigation, there may be a criminal trial, there may be a conviction, or there may not be. But the reality is that doesn't produce any lessons. That doesn't ensure that lessons are learned, and indeed, if there have been failings, that steps can be taken to remedy those failings to ensure that this never happens again.
And what areas would that deal with? Is it, what may have led to it? Does it deal with, or would it deal with, the initial search and recovery? And would it deal with anything after the fact? I mean, obviously, that would all have to be decided, the scope of such a of such an inquiry. But what would your gut tell you would be required?
So you're absolutely right, Greg. That would be part of what the terms of reference would deal with. It sets the scope. But, on a very broad brush, one can see the obvious lines of investigation. Could this have been prevented? How did this occur? How do we ensure this doesn't happen again? They're the kind of things that a public inquiry, or indeed what a human rights complaint investigation requires, and that it's done, where possible in public, and it's done to ensure that the various documents, the various materials are provided to the families so that they can effectively participate to ensure that their questions can be answered. Because, as we all know, when there is tragedy like this, there tends to be rumour and suspicion, and it's really important in cases like this that rumour and suspicion is assuaged so that the families can grieve and that the truth is known.
We understand that, unfortunately, history has educated us, much to the heartache of many, that these things eventually happen, but the longer it takes and the more they seem to be obstructed or not supported, the more difficult it becomes for those affected by it. Would you agree with that?
I would 100% agree with that. And the reality is that, that is what we need to, that's the lesson we need to learn here. We simply can't wait for a decade or decades down the line to begin an investigation into this terrible, terrible tragedy. The investigation needs to happen now, and it needs to be robust and prompt to ensure these families get the answers they need so that they can grieve for their loved ones.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's have a quick listen to Tánaiste Mícheál Martin. He was asked about this, of course. It's not that he's opposed to an inquiry, but he seems to think that now is not the time while investigations are ongoing. It's just a short clip.
It's a terrible tragedy. It does need the fullest of examinations, but I'd like to see the outcome of the reports that are currently and the investigations, the outcome of those, bring them to a conclusion, and then to see whether we could proceed to an inquiry.
Have you any sympathy, Dara, to his view that we wait for the outcome of the reports and the investigation before discussing an inquiry? I know you've referenced this, but just having heard his comments directly there.
No, unfortunately, I have zero sympathy for that position. I don't think it. I think it dissolves upon reality. There's no basis for saying he'd simply like to wait until the outcome of a criminal investigation. There's no reason or rationale for that approach, and indeed, that doesn't grapple with the reasons that we put forward as to why we can't wait. And indeed, I think that my position will be more akin to the Taoiseach's position, who has already publicly said that the families have legitimate questions and they need answers. So I think that's more in line with the approach that ought to be taken here. These families have got questions. These families are entitled answers. And that's what we say the correct response from the state should be.
Yeah, and Leona's mother, Donna Harper, outlined that a little earlier too.
We're all calling for a public inquiry because we just want to get to the truth as to what happened to our loved ones. It's 2 years now on the 7th of October, and we don't know anything or we don't know what's going on. So as a family and as a group, we decided to call for this public inquiry, and I think we deserve it.
And just to make sure everyone understands, Dara, what we're talking about, would some of the answers, or not all of the answers, maybe that Donna and the others seek, not be found in the Garda investigation?
No. Let's look at the Garda investigation and the potential outcomes. Firstly, the Garda investigation may conclude that there should be no charges brought, at which stage the families will be provided with no documents and no answers. Two, the Garda investigation could result in a prosecution and maybe even a criminal trial. That criminal trial would exclusively focus on the criminal responsibility of the accused perpetrator. It wouldn't deal with questions such as preventability. It wouldn't deal with questions such as what the rumour was in the weeks prior to this atrocity. It wouldn't deal with the concerns that people have about whether this steps could have been taken to make the premises safer at a much earlier stage. These are questions that simply won't be part and parcel of that kind of investigation. And they're the kind of questions that these families have, and they're the kind of questions that ought to be answered. And we must remember that we're in a situation now, almost 2 years on, where the families haven't even been given the source of the ignition. Many people have suspicions, but it shouldn't be for these families to have their own suspicions. It shouldn't be for these families to try and conduct their own investigations within the local area. It should be for an independent forum to investigate so that answers are provided.
It is. Given the extent of the tragedy, just looking on how some things are progressing, others aren't. It all sometimes seems a little out of order, if the truth be told. And I'm trying to put myself in the position of one that was who was bereaved. There's no alternative motive to this question. It's simply a question. Finally, Dara, you're working with families of 7 of the 10 victims. Are you open to working with the other 3, or have they decided not to enter into this process? Everyone will have their own views and grieve their own way, and they're perfectly entitled to do so. But do you anticipate representing more families?
Well, as a solicitor, we are instructed. It's not that we can effectively seek instructions. This morning we've been instructed by. We've been instructed by an 8th family. So, of course, we remain open to working with any family who's bereaved. All right. Just to clarify, we can update our information now. You're now representing 8 of the 10 victims. Families of 8 of the 10 victims. That's right. Now. Okay. Right, Dara, thanks for that. We'll touch base again. Obviously, an awful lot of interest because it's the local community, but the wider community. There's so many people affected by this, and we'll be very keen to see how it progresses. Lots of unanswered questions. Dara, thanks for your time. Dara Mackin, solicitor for Phoenix Law, and as you've heard there now, Phoenix Law, and through Dara, is now instructed and is representing 8 families of the 10 victims there.
Looking for a technology partner to help you reach your business goals? With cybersecurity solutions from Vodafone, your business can hack off the hackers. And with our collaboration tools like Microsoft 365, your business can bring the team together, wherever they are. Keeping your business secure and productive. Make technology work for you with solutions and support from Vodafone. Search Your Business Can today.
Raymond Sweeney here to introduce you to heat pump tumble dryers. With these dryers you can save up to 50% on energy use, enjoy softer clothes, and thanks to advanced sensor drying technology, you will have wrinkle-free laundry every time. Upgrade your drying experience today with a heat pump tumble dryer, now available at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road Letterkenny, or the shopping centre Dunlow.
Make more meals for less with Dunn Stores, where you'll save in the aisle with ingredients for a vibrant salmon teriyaki bowl. That's 2 fresh salmon darns, just €4. Served with vegetables like avocado, just 49 cents, tangy teriyaki sauce and basmati rice, 250 grams, just 65 cents. Plus, you can save again at the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Dunn Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used in next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
Donegal Texel sheep breeders are holding a sale of 80 rams in Rafo Livestock Mart this Friday 27th of September at 7 p.m. Online bidding via the Mart Bids app. That's this Friday at Rafo Mart.
Chasing that final ray of sunlight to the end of the garden. Squeezing every drop out of your tea bag. Scraping the last bit of that really nice face cream. In Ireland, we love getting the most out of everything. So why aren't we doing the same with our money? By moving to an AIB savings account today, you'll get more from your money by earning interest. Visit aib.ie/savings to explore your options. AIB, for the life you're after. Terms and conditions apply. Allied Irish Banks plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. With over 50 years of serving the community in Donegal, McElhinney's is proud to be part of every moment, big and small. Support local, shop McElhinney's Ballybuffet.
And today is dry with bright or sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 11 or 12 degrees and light to moderate northeast winds. And I can see on my screen here that the weather is beautiful in the west of the county, and it's all part of Love Donegal Day. It's in association with Donegal County Council. We're encouraging you to use the hashtags Love Donegal, hashtag Dunanal Abu across your social media posts. Our Corinne Temple is out and about for Love Donegal Day today in association with our friends at Donegal County Council. Corinne, good morning to you, and I suppose just recap, what this day is all about.
Morning, Greg. Well, as you said, it's Love Donegal Day, so it's all about Donegal, what we have here, and what's to love about the place. And what better place to start in today than Donegal Airport here in Carrickfinn. I drove over from Balbafay this morning, drove through Dunlow, and it doesn't matter how many times you drive that road, the scenery is just amazing. So we've arrived here now, sun's shining, and we have Brendan O'Brien here, and he is head of air traffic control here at the airport. We're actually in the control tower here this morning, so we've got a different view of the airport.
Very exclusive access altogether.
We have access all areas, that's right.
Indeed, very good.
So I'll hand you over to Brendan now, and he'll just talk to you about what he does here and the airport and love Donegal.
Yeah, Brendan, good morning to you. I mean, listen, if we love Donegal, we love Donegal Airport. It is just one of the jewels in our crown. It's great to see it recognised, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's great, and especially in a morning like this, we're looking out the window, plenty of sunshine, and then just looking out, there's a rainbow rising up there from Critch Island. So it's a fabulous part of the county and the whole county. And I know it's Love Donegal Day. As I said, the girls, I love Donegal every day of the year. So yeah.
What's your favourite part of Donegal, Brendan?
Well, I'd have to say Glanton Glasgow Door is my favourite spot. Walking along the beach there, Tramore, which I walk nearly every evening. So yeah, I love it.
We often talk about the scheduled flights, and we will. But is there much private traffic at the airport that you have to coordinate and what have you, Brendan?
Yeah, I would have a mixture of general aviation between flight training schools and just people visiting the area. There were a number of years there we got the most scenic approach, so that brought a lot of people from especially the UK over to have a look at the area, what the talk was all about. So and they were all really impressed with the approach here, with the islands, the sandy beaches, and then the sort of the welcome they got, and when they sort of went and stayed in local hotels and pubs, and the reception and the friendliness of the people.
Yeah, I've often feel like the runway at Donegal Airport's almost like a red carpet. You know, it's a fantastic start to a night out because if you haven't visited the area before and you're flying in there for the first time and generally get down below cloud, or if there's no cloud, and we've already referenced it being recognised on an international scale, there is nothing like it. And what a way to kick off a visit to our beautiful region.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. It's been out there. It's both approaches there. We have two approaches there, one from the south and one from the north. Like especially the one from the north, you're coming over bloody foreland there, and you have the ruggedness and then the water breaking on the shores, and then you start hitting the sandy beaches, and then probably off to your right hand side you have Goal Island, Inishfree, and Bawn, all Ellen Bawn. So it's a fabulous approach for them to see.
And how busy is your job? I mean, obviously, you know, it's very busy all the time. Don't get me wrong, I know that. But people would know, you know, Dublin Airport, you know, Heathrow and all these different types of airports. And there's many staff there. But you still have a lot to coordinate, don't you? And there's a great deal of responsibility, isn't there, in keeping, you know, private traffic or commercial traffic away from, you know, passenger traffic too, especially maybe if there has to be a fly around or what have you. You know, there's an awful lot of responsibility and a lot for you to coordinate there. Brendan?
Yeah, around Donegal Airport here, we have a 10 nautical mile radius up to 5,000 feet. So that's our general area of responsibility. But traffic is normally handed over to us at 20 nautical miles, the scheduled traffic. So we'll be coordinating between the commercial and the general aviation. Especially when you get good weather and at weekends, you have a lot more sort of general aviation activity if the weather's good, and your flight training schools. Plus, then you have the military and the search and rescue operation. So, yeah, we're kept going then. But more so now, it's more paperwork and more from the safety
It's always
aspect.
the way now, isn't it? Till we get AI to get rid of you.
That'll be the next.
Me and you will be
We sure will, yeah.
sunning ourselves. And one final question, Brendan, got nothing to do with Love Donegal Day as such, but also to how big of an issue now is it keeping an eye out for the likes of drones? I know there's a no-flying zone there now. But not everyone knows about that, and these drones are really quite accessible and probably a potential bane in your side, you know, when dealing with traffic. Do they register on your equipment, and has it been much of a problem in the past?
I know it's probably over the years, like we've had a sort of general campaign there, awareness, especially around Christmas time, about the usage of drones around the airport. And we've just implemented our drone incident management at the aerodrome there back in March. So that was in conjunction with the Irish Aviation Authority and the Garda Síochána. So we have a system in place. There's a portal there where drone operators are registered, and they can just request like a flight plan or permission to fly the drone. And so we can look at each application separately, and if we can allow them to fly, we generally allow them to fly, because like at the weekend there's a wedding on the area, so they have an application and to use the drone, so it's subject to traffic at the time.
Great stuff. Okay. Listen, brilliant stuff. You love Donegal. I love Donegal. Thanks so much, Brendan.
That's it.
Really appreciate it. And Corinne, I know you're visiting a number of places today, and if we're talking about loving Donegal, you'd have to start at the Donegal airport. It's a lovely place to be, isn't it? And a fantastic welcome to those visiting our region.
Oh, definitely. As I said, even the drive over this morning. So there's no better place to start. And we are heading now to New Mills after this, and we're going to be at the New Mills Corn and Flax Mill. So again, we're going to have a lovely drive over there, and after that we head down to Swan Park and Buncrana. So we've a lot of road to cover in Donegal today, and we're going to capture bits along the way. So stay tuned to our socials, and again, we'll be coming into John and around the Northwest, and again to David on the Jive Time, just sharing all the great places here in Donegal and why we love them. And if anyone today is listening, just use the hashtag Love Donegal or hashtag Donegal and share your pictures, your stories, and just get the word out there.
Yeah, and tag us in. I'm sure we can share them too. It's all about using all of our social medias right across all various platforms to spread the love of Donegal. And also, I think it's nice what happens here as well. People, as I mentioned earlier on, that no longer live here or moved away, they get to sort of be reminded of the beauty we have here. And they may fly in and see our good friend Brendan in the not too distant future. That's what it's all about. Brendan, it's been lovely chatting to you. Thank you so very much indeed, and great to understand a little bit of the work that you do. Corinne, thanks as always. So you and Anya, where are you off to next? You're off to New Mills, did you say?
So we're off to New Mills. We're at the New Mills Corn and Flax Mill. So we can't wait to hear all about the flax mill there and the work that they do and the guided tours. So as I say, stay tuned to hear all about it.
Yeah, and every time you stop and see something, every time you see something that's picture worthy and stop and take a picture and hashtag it, you might not be there till tomorrow. But anyway, that's such is the beauty of our
county. Tight
county.
schedule, but we'll get in as much as we can.
All right, lovely stuff. Thanks very much. I really appreciate it. Okay, that was our own Corinne Temple there, and we also had Brendan Buale there as well. Great to speak to him, head of air traffic control at the airport. Haven't spoken to him before. Find that all that work fascinating. So great to get an insight into that. So take your pictures. I've got pictures of, I was at the weekend, we went out for something to eat on Sunday, went into a bar, and there was just a traditional session there, but there was also other artists that had joined and took a picture, and it was just, it sort of encaptured for me genuine, the culture and artistry of Donegal. I'm going to post that picture later on because I think that encaptures why we love Donegal. Hashtag Love Donegal, Donegal Aboo. Maybe you've taken a great picture at a football match. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just that last minute score or that picture. Post that. That's about loving Donegal and our culture. Hashtag Donegal, hashtag Donegal Aboo. And on it goes. Your imagination is your only limitation there. And it works, because we had a lovely trip out to Tory Island earlier in the summer. And anywhere I go, I try and promote it as much as I can. So I made a wee TikTok of Tory Island and didn't think anything of it until today, because a listener has just messaged in and said, "Hi Greg, your TikTok vlog of Tory Island made me visit the island. Donegal Aboo." Wow, brilliant stuff. Thank you. I didn't even think on that happening, so that's brilliant. Well done. Must do more of that if it actually has an impact. Right, okay. A quick query before we take a break. DM Waste are not collecting... This came in from a listener. DM Waste are not collecting bins in Rosemount in Letterkenny. We've been advised to move the bins so they can collect them. Some residents are unable to move their bins as they've got back problems. This is a health and safety issue. Can you please get in contact with them and help resolve this issue? So we did, of course, get in with DM Waste, and fair play to the company. They got back to us as well. And it reads as follows. We are aware of the situation, have spoken to this particular resident, and we have explained to them that on each occasion we've tried to gain access, but there are cars parked and blocking the lorry. The lorry is normally in that area at 7 a.m, as it's very busy during the day for the lorry to get down the main street and turn into Rosemount. We've been servicing that area at the same time each week for over 15 years and never had an issue. We did ask this particular residents, as they said they were speaking on behalf of other residents in that area, if the residents could bring their bins to the end of the lane, as this is a short distance, but they refused. This particular resident suggested that we change our collection day, but unfortunately our days and routes cannot be changed, as this would disrupt all our customers' collections. So not fully resolved, but hopefully they can work together there and come up with a resolution. Morning, Greg. Good to hear Mary T. Sweeney standing in the general election. Donegal needs a strong woman's voice, unlike the weather-vane politicians who spin and change direction depending on which way the political wind is blowing. With Mary T., what you see is what you get. Hi, Greg. Does anyone know why the Catholic Church are not making much noise about Israel killing innocent people and children? Where would they stop, though? I think, the Pope is showing leadership in that regard and has made really quite strong remarks. And he made really quite strong remarks in relation to the US presidential election race, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and he referred to one of them as the lesser of two evils. I don't want to misquote the pontiff, but I believe he did. So there you have a little bit of leadership. You mean maybe on a local level? Where would that end, though? I don't know. I can't get a date for the NCT till the 30th of November. I feel it's out of our control as drivers if we can't get a date. If you do repairs on your vehicle, then your car is roadworthy. We were talking about NCT enforcement, and a caller says that, they should deal with the small things too. And this caller says, I agree with you, Texter Gardaí need to enforce the small things for a start. We were also talking about a gap in a school dentist in the west of Donegal, the Falcara area. A mum was telling us that her daughter needs a filling, but there's no one available to do so, and private practices are packed. Same dentist problems in Buncrana, I'm told, with my school-going children. So there you have it.
The big end of summer sale is on now at Foy's in Ballybuffet and Letterkenny. Get massive discounts on selected rugs, sofas, beds and dining room furniture. Also on cushions, mirrors, artworks, lighting, paint and so much more. Transform your home with stylish finds at unbeatable prices. But hurry, because these deals won't last. Foy's in Ballybuffet and Letterkenny, where your dream home begins. Sale ends soon. Visit foys.ie for details.
There's only one thing as good as a TUI holiday, and that's looking forward to one. So get next summer sorted and secure your TUI holiday today. Choose beach, city and cruise breaks across a wide range of destinations with Cyprus and Tunisia new, plus all your favourites like holiday villages, Splash World resorts and our own TUI Blue hotels. Secure now with a low deposit and early booking savings. That's next summer's holiday sorted. TUI, live happy. T's and C's apply.
Is your child looking for the party of the century? Look no further, as Century Complex has you covered. Century Complex has several packages to choose from that incorporate Century Cinema and Century Play to suit all ages. For more information, please email us at bookings@centurycinemas.ie or call us on 07491 21976.
Starting or heading back to college, Irwin Expert Electrical has you covered. Whether you need a reliable laptop, printer, or a tablet for learning, or the essential items for your college digs like small appliances, speakers, and cozy electric blankets, we've got everything you need to make college life easier and more comfortable. Visit us in-store in Letterkenny or Buncrana and get ready for a successful year ahead with Irwin Expert.
For day-to-day healthcare needs, generations have trusted the experienced staff at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. From coughs and colds to aches and pains, from vitamin supplements to first aid essentials. McGee's have what you need when you need it, with a full prescription service available daily. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For healthcare help and advice you can always trust.
with all the stories that matter across the Northwest. It's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock. It's time for a news update, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Taoiseach says he wants to see investigations into the Creeslough tragedy completed before deciding the next steps. His intervention follows yesterday's statement on behalf of the families of 7 of those who've lost their lives, calling for a public inquiry. Dara Mackin, solicitor with Phoenix Law, however, says he's now representing an 8th family in the matter. He says these families cannot process their grief fully until they receive closure relating to what caused the fatal explosion. A number of families remain evacuated from their homes in Carnhill in Derry as a security alert continues. Authorities have established cordons around the affected area and police remain on the scene. While limited details are available at this time, updates will be provided as more information becomes available. Donegal County Council is under pressure to address litter problems in Ballybuffet. Local councillor Dakota McVanman has highlighted the lack of bins on Navanue Street, particularly during popular football matches. While the increased footfall from these events is beneficial for the town, McVanman emphasises the importance of maintaining high standards set by the local Tidy Towns group. A man is due in court in Derry charged with dangerous driving and a number of drug-related offences. They include being concerned in the supply of Class A and Class B controlled drugs. And finally, a new service has been launched that will make it easier to switch owners if you sell your car. It will allow private vehicle owners to transfer the vehicle registration to another private owner entirely online. Buyers will also be able to check the car's details, including whether it's taxed, has an NCT and was imported. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. We'll be back again with more at 12 noon.
All right, Donna Marie, thank you very much indeed for that.
Forests are more important than ever. Quilcha manages its forests sustainably to help combat climate change, to supply wood for building homes, to protect habitats for nature, and to provide beautiful places for people to enjoy. That's why Quilcha is managing large areas of our forests for nature to enhance and restore Ireland's biodiversity. Quilcha, forests for climate, nature, wood and people, for a greener future for all.
All right, we are joined in studio now by Donegal native Declan McClafferty, better known as Ramper. Good morning to you, Declan. Thanks for your time.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
How are you getting on?
Yeah, good.
Same as?
Well, busy, aye. In the family way these days, and it's, you know yourself.
It's a balance, isn't it? Because, you know, you've got the family stuff and all the usual stuff that goes with that, and then you've got the creative side as well. And I suppose maybe you can draw some inspiration from one for the other as well.
Absolutely, aye. It is, you learn a lot about yourself now, I'm finding, and it's great, but it's definitely a challenge. I think it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
It's not over yet.
No, I know. I know. Who are you telling?
Come here, talk to me about Ramper and performing under the name Ramper.
Ramper, we just kind of started a new project just by myself, kind of through the pandemic. Obviously, we played within their thousands for years, and that kind of has, you know, we've kind of stopped that now. Kind of everybody had families and kids, and, you know, that was the way it went. And then just had a load of songs and just wanted to do something, started something new. And you have to call it something, I suppose. But Ramper is, there's a wee road in Dewey, where I'm from in Downings, called An Ramper. And I spent a load of my life on it. And learned to walk on it, I suppose, probably learned to drive on it. And it was, I just always liked it. I always thought it was a good name for a project.
Was
you know?
it like the sort of the ever present in all your seemingly significant moments in life?
Yeah, but it's not even 100 yards long. It's just a wee stretch of road goes down along the beach there. But it was just obvious. It was just a big thing, and everything happened down the Ramper. Like when I was like a teenager, no signal in the house, but you could go down the Ramper and you could connect with people, you know. So it just kind of made sense on a few levels. So that was it. Started writing under that moniker and made an album, and just did it all in the house with. I had a guitar, a couple of guitars. I had a piano. I'm a terrible piano player. I'm very bad at the piano, but
But you're embracing that, though, aren't you?
I am.
in the music, like.
Yeah, I mean, when you get a bit older, you realise that not everything's just perfect all the time, like, and I think it's important as an artist too to recognise that if things are a bit bad sometimes, that's okay, you know.
Yeah, and to your average ear, they probably won't pick that up. But it's obviously, as a musician, you see that in yourself. It's kind of, well, we hope they don't. It's kind of fitting too that we're talking to you on Love Donegal Day and this big push to get the Donegal message out, because you're very proud of where you're from, your county, but you're very proud of, more specifically where you're from, and even drawing the name from your front door, effectively.
We've all, like, over the years and whatever we've been doing, we've always been proud to say that we're from Donegal, and to go. Unfortunately, if you live in the Northwest and you're interested in the kind of music that, this is like an alternative folk thing. It's not like, it's not a mainstream pop music. This is what we're making. We're not, going out filling dance halls for jives. It's a different kind of thing, and we understand, or I understand that you have to go somewhere else. The market is not necessarily right here in Donegal, like. But that doesn't mean that everywhere that we go, we kind of say, you should definitely go there. I remember going to Germany. First time we went to Germany, we'd be meeting people. They were asking, where are you from? And, they took a real interest in what we were about and this kind of thing. And I remember saying, like, you should go sometime. But they take everything literally. And they're like, you should come. And they did. Like, I remember Dara in the beach hotel, my cousin, ringing saying there's a camper van after pulling in, and they're staying here, and they came all the way from Germany to Downings in County Donegal because they seen us playing music in Germany.
Brilliant. Yeah, because it's authentic and it's from an area and there's a connection there as well.
Yeah.
Are you nostalgic, if you know what I mean? Like, your upbringing now, as much as we try, because, we've both got children around about the same age, there was sort of an innocence and a freedom. That's how I feel my childhood was, right? You've got your ramper, I've got my own, as you were describing that, I've got my own space, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense. And we try, to sort of children, toddlers, 3, 4, 5 now, that they have those experiences, but it's getting increasingly different. Is that something that you think about in your head, about your upbringing, and that maybe elements of it that were simple, traveling for a signal? We've all done that. Others, for other people a bit older than you, perhaps it was walking to a phone box to ring their first girlfriend, whatever it might be, right? Yeah. I don't know if that was better. It feels better. But do you think about that, your childhood, and then I suppose, and this is not being personal, will be general, the type of childhood we try and give our children now?
Yeah, I've definitely thought about that a lot. Like, growing up in Donegal for me was, like, I grew up in Dewey, like, I was surrounded by, like, the older generation. Most of my neighbours were in their 70s and 80s. And now I'm kind of, even with the ramper thing, to bring it back into the music, like, I'm thinking about those lives and the way that they lived and the way they experienced Donegal compared to, like, the burst of the internet. And I kind of feel like, having seen the first thing, the older generation, that hardy, like, no shop, no food, go and catch your food in the sea, like, that's what, that's how they lived.
Yeah.
To bring it forward now to, like, the internet and TikTok and stuff.
Yeah. And that's just close to where is there's just out a wee bit from the coach, from the coast. There is just a little bit of concrete there that's been laid.
Yeah,
a long time ago, I presume.
Yeah, but
the people you talk of, I would imagine, stood on that at one time to catch the food that you talk of.
Totally, yeah.
The one thing about Justin, for people outside of the area who haven't been there, the thing about I find about when I drive through Dewey is I'm not a particularly artistic type of person or what have you, but the way it's laid out still, you can almost cast your mind back as to how it would have been 80 years ago. How the houses face each other and the size of them and all that kind of stuff, or what that would have been like as a community.
It was a mad place. Like, in a way, nothing happened there. You know what I mean? But it was.
But he's set out like a village.
Yeah.
It's set out like a small village.
Yeah, it was just like I suppose the English would call it a hamlet
Yeah.
of houses. Like but the road goes down through the middle of it, and it's all centered around the beach. And yeah, I'm very much like I spend a lot of time there and take the kids there a lot, and as you say, let them off the hook and just try and let them roam.
Yeah.
You know,
and scrape their knees.
Aye, and fall,
If
and
it happens,
you know,
yeah. It is.
Get sand in their
okay.
eyes and.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know,
if you want a good dream, is the track we're going to hear in a bit. What's this about?
It's earthy. I kind of think that I'm a bit funny. Like as you say, you brought up nostalgia. I think it's weird, not weird that you did it, but like I am very nostalgic lyrically. I'm always going back and drawing from the kind of the past thing. But I'm always trying to boot it forwards into the future, you know, like trying. I think when I was writing a lot of the project, I realised in Ireland, a lot of things about our culture were bad, and we're dealing with a lot of that now. But there was a lot of, you know, there was some very beautiful things and some good things in there too. And it's, for me, I'm trying to kind of keep those, you know, and hold on to them, bring them forward, bring the language forward, things like that. And even like the things just like being earthy and digging and planting your own food and stuff like that, and how good that is for you as a person and for your mental health and stuff. And then with the music, then I just try to make it modern or push out the way, you know. So
we do have a choice at how we live our lives. We can live it at breakneck speed. We can be stressed all the time. You know, we can just buy everything that we need. That is a choice too of how you want to function in society, because you can also take a step to one side out of the fast lane and still participate in society and do your job and all that kind of stuff, but live a less stressful life. It is a choice.
It is a choice.
Like everything that we're talking of and the things that you are being nostalgic for, a lot of it is, it's just about disconnecting from your TV or your mobile devices. We're not obliged to do that. You can step out of that world if you wish.
You can, but it's
becoming increasingly difficult.
It's very difficult to do that. Like you're under a lot of pressure. I don't know if people realize how much pressure they're under from social media and things, and people will do a lot of stuff that they maybe don't want to do just to get a few likes or follows or metrics, you know.
Look,
numbers,
I'd had a couple
views.
of drinks. I took my top off. What's the big deal?
Not again, Greg. Not again.
Yeah, no, I do know what you're saying, and you know also too. I think as you reflect, and you're quite right in that. I think the majority of, you know, we had a very tough history in this country, and there's been dark times, and I think I know what you're referencing. But for the majority, you know, it wasn't like that. But that's still the same now, and I'm really conscious of that. I'm doing a show like this in that. Say for instance you talk about someone's had a bad experience in a hospital or whatever, that often doesn't feel the space or the time to talk of the amazing gift of life that's been given to so many others at the same time, right? So it's hard to sort of maybe make sure that no one's left behind, but then you also have to find space to celebrate the positives that's there, and that's what Love Donegal is about. I mean, this is the most amazing county for all of its faults, and we hope the majority of people are happy enough to enjoy that. So, you know, we're still, it's almost like history repeating itself, and that we can't forget what's good now.
I am like a melancholic character from like times. I can't help myself, but like 37 long winters on the northwest coast will do that to you.
Yeah, but you talk like it's been 85.
I know.
So in terms of, I mean, there's been never more of an opportunity now for artists to create music and to get it out there. And you don't necessarily, I mean, it's great if you get coverage and airplay and all that kind of stuff, but it's not essential now. And unfortunately, I think an awful lot of, you know, platforms are reactive now. They'll jump on a bandwagon rather than, you know, get that bandwagon rolling in the first place. But what are your plans for your work now as Ramper? I know you've got the album, you're releasing singles. You talked of traveling in the past to Germany. What is the plan? I mean, obviously your time's different now, But you still want to get out there as much as you can.
Yeah, it's harder now. Like there's a juggling thing, but I have a single coming out now next week. I'm playing an interesting festival in Dublin called Ireland Music Week. The crack with that is they take 50 acts from Ireland. They kind of handpick them, and they describe them as what they deem to be the best 50 export ready music acts in the country.
Wow.
So that's a really cool thing. They take in a load of
Is the industry represented? You're just answering the question I was about to ask. Go ahead.
So that's what it is. So they gather up the artists. They also gather up like industry, from booking agents to management to like label representatives at different, like there's some huge companies coming and there's some smaller kind of more independent.
But from different markets as well. So you could have a Dutch music label
there's
that
a lot
thinks
of
that you're...
Yeah, the delegates are online. There's people from there's actually somebody from Ukraine coming, Music Ukraine. There's people from like the Baltic countries like Latvia. There's a few Indian there's an Indian delegation, so they're all, and there's a lot of these festivals that happen around, like South by Southwest in America is probably the most famous of them. Then you have Reeperbahn in Germany and Eurosonic in Holland. All these people are there, and it's a very cool thing. And I'm really looking forward to it. But most of the week will be spent like sitting down. You have 5 minutes with people, then you move on to the next desk, and you just chat.
Would you have done that 5 years ago?
Never. We never did
why
that.
Why now? Would you have done it?
Of course we would have done it, but it just never got selected for it,
Excellent, okay.
So
it's just the right thing at the right time then.
It's hard to get like a slot at it. Like I think there was maybe 1,000 applications for it,
Fantastic.
So
how many songs are you going to perform at it?
Everybody gets a 30-minute showcase.
Effectively.
And it's in 3 venues in Dublin, so you have your set.
Exciting. I can't wait to find out how that goes for you.
Yeah, it should be cool.
It's not necessarily immediate too. These connections can play out months down the line.
Music is a funny world to be in because it could happen, like you say, with social media, something could happen, like you could just go up like a balloon, shoot up, or nothing could happen, and you kind of don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Music it's mad. You have to be kind of mad to be in music.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of the same with this job. You don't have to be, but it helps.
Yeah. Well,
so if you want a good dream, we're going to listen to this now. And you say, well, we know it's out Friday, 27th September.
Yeah.
And you've a busy couple of days. Well, best of luck with that trip down to Dublin.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting. And I think, too, it's just interesting to talk to the artists because sometimes then, I find anyway, you listen to music in a different context. Reminds me a little bit about, and you're a million miles away from George Michael. Never a big fan of his music, but I watched the documentary on him, and I've just listened to his music in a different way now, and I found some of it
context
I enjoyed.
It's so
but
much
beforehand,
about context,
it was just like noise I didn't like, but then once I understand him and his story a bit, what a random example, but all of a sudden it gave some context to everything.
Yeah, but it's sometimes if you listen to music kind of cold without knowing anything about the humans involved in it, there has to be a big human element in it. And I think once you get that, then you start to make connection. And
any gigs coming up locally?
Not
Do
really.
you pop up, you can kind of pop up anywhere.
I do.
Really,
I could be playing just. I don't really book too far ahead.
Yeah.
People just ring and say, "We've
you're
got no
free
music.
Friday."
Like, can you come?" Yeah, kind of thing. And it always seems to happen. So I kind of do that. So I don't really know where I'm going to be, and I like that. But I spend most of my time really. I've gone to Ironmore a lot. I spent a lot of the summer out with Martin Neely and Neely's Bar there.
What is
He's
it that
really
draws
good.
you to it? I don't know the phraseology for it, but is it the topography or whatever? But just speaking about Dewey again, and I said this not so long ago. You could be driving in Ironmore, driving up to Dewey.
You could, yeah. They're very similar.
Incredibly similar rock formations and the all that kind of stuff. Is that it?
I like going there. I love boats. Like anything that involves a boat, I'm there. Like it's good.
Have you been on your cousin's boat yet?
Huh?
Have you been on your cousin's boat yet?
No, I have more sense. I have more sense. Anything with an engine and Dara, I'm out. Even a lawnmower. I wouldn't trust him with a lawnmower. But man,
you take good advice there. Stick with oars.
I don't know.
All right then. Listen.
Too far for that.
The best of luck with the single.
Right, thank you very
if you
much.
want a good dream, it's from Ramper. In my notes, it says Donegal native Declan McClafferty, better known as Ramper. But in our neck of the woods, it's probably Ramper, better known as Declan McClafferty. But
Yeah.
hey, this isn't it. This is a national, international race we have.
This is the crack.
All right, then here it is. This is If You Want the Dream. Declan, thanks very much. Best of luck with that competition in that showcase.
Yeah.
That showcase in Dublin. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, should be good. Thanks, Greg.
Waiting on the hour before it gets dark to live in that change I feel come. I need to feel the soil these days or it gets to me. I need to see my work when I'm done. When it's over, I just wanna start over and do it again. Keep my mind from thinking about it when it's over. Don't take me so seriously if you want a good dream. I've buried mine in the land. You still chase the fables, but there's just not enough time to lose. I'm like a painter who never knows when they're done. And everybody's seen this one before. Watch it again. This time don't forget. When it's over, I just wanna start over and do it again. Keep my mind from thinking about it when it's over. Don't take me so seriously if you want a good dream. I've buried mine in the land. Don't try to tell me there's nothing to this. I know what I feel. This is just what I need to get me through this. Things change, we all lose. When it's over, I just wanna start over and do it again. Keep my mind from thinking about it when it's over. Don't take me so seriously if you want a bad dream. Just sit and wait. Just sit and wait for nothing.
Queen of Country and Irish Margot celebrates 60 years of music with a very special concert on Thursday the 10th of October in the Mount Donegal Hotel, Letterkenny. Tickets are now on sale from the hotel reception and online at Eventbrite. Don't miss this special night as Margot celebrates her 60th anniversary.
Hi, Kate Appleby here. Just wanted to let you all know my exciting new autumn shoe collection is available nationwide in all good shoe stores. kateappleby.com. Hope you enjoy my shoes.
Knock, knock. Who's there? 130 million euro. That's who. I'm not even joking. The Euro Millions Mega Draw is back on Friday the 27th of September with a guaranteed jackpot of 130 million euro.
The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun.
For schools, colleges and workplaces, BizPrint can take care of all your printing needs. Books, posters, pop-up displays and much more. Call BizPrint on 9177955 or see bizprint.ie.
It's the mattress sale at Easy Living Furniture. With all mattresses reduced. Gift yourself a better night's sleep with free delivery and disposal on all mattresses over $499 at Easy Living Furniture, Sligo Retail Park, Sligo, or online at easylivingfurniture.ie.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, Easy Living has it all. Easy Living Furniture, luxury furnishings, affordable luxury.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
All right, the time is 27 minutes past 11. A big thanks once again to Rampa, a.k.a. Declan, for calling in. Declan McClafferty for a chat. It's very much appreciated. And best wishes, says a listener, to Declan McCafferty, who's coming on your show shortly. Thanks, Kathleen, from Kathleen in Ramelton. Good to have you on board listening. Patricia, good morning to you. Thanks for your nice comments on socials. Charlie, good to have you back in God's country. The two listening to us at 3 a.m. in Canada, or watching us actually on YouTube. Good to have you on board as well. Audrey's there. Good morning, Audrey. Mike, Rosemary, Darren, and Annie. Some new faces, some regular faces watching our live stream. Just to remind you, you can watch the show every day, every morning between 9 and 12 on our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland. You can watch us on your smart TV or your Fire Stick on the YouTube app there, or any device that has the YouTube app. And we're also across Facebook. And just to remind you as well that we, as always, try and endeavour to make it as easy for you as possible to get any information that we might have here at Highland Radio, which includes the obituary notices, which is a very important service that we provide here. We broadcast them on air, as you know. We have them on our website as well, but they're also now available on our Facebook page, Highland Radio News, Sport and Obituary Notices, and that is where they are posted as well. And it's an opportunity to, I suppose, and many people do now, maybe to say something nice about a deceased loved one or friend, and you can do that on our social media page as well. Greg, in relation to the NCT appointment, I booked online after 12 o'clock on Saturday night past and got an appointment for Tuesday. They must update the system at the time, otherwise I was going to have to wait until December. Just to let your listener know that, if you don't mind, thanks. I've mentioned this time and time again on the show, and I'm glad another listener has reminded me. They do reset the system with cancellations or what have you, or slots becoming available. It's after 12 o'clock every night. Get on. Give them a ring, or book online, just after 12, and you are very likely to get a more favourable NCT booking appointment. In relation to the story about littering at Navanny, I was at a concert in Dublin over the summer, and we were on a bus from Malahide to the city centre. It was not a bus affiliated with Donegal, but a girl from Mayo was talking about football in the state of Navanny Street when she used to come up for matches. She said, in order to enjoy Donegal, you must continue to go north and skip Ballybofey, the biggest kip in Ireland. Well, we know that's not the case, and we know that that's just one person's commentary on a bus. But I think what that's in relation to is around about the times where there's lots of people, a lot of football matches or what have you, there can be quite a bit of litter. We had a local councillor calling for more litter bins. Ultimately, though, the responsibility rests with us, you know. We don't have to dump stuff on the street. When is the nighttime works to begin on Ballybofey and Stranrawer Bridge? I thought it was supposed to be Monday night past. Well, it begins on Monday, September 23rd. The road works are expected to last 2 weeks, and the works, we're told, will take place at night between 8 p.m. and 7 a.m. There might be some proprietary work that's done ahead of that. Maybe that's why you didn't see much. Greg, it looks like the Creeslough tragedy is going the same route as the Stardust tragedy. I wouldn't say that's the case. And I think really what's happening now is that they're trying to avoid that happening. And I presume they want any investigation or any inquiry to happen while everything is still fresh in people's minds. It will eventually happen. It's the timing of it. And now we have a solicitor instructed by families of 8 of the 10 people that very tragically passed away, now representing them, those 8 families, seeking that inquiry. And there seems to be some divergence in government in that the Taoiseach believes it should happen, maybe. He was non-committal in that regard, but maybe the timing's not right now. And we heard from our solicitor friend Dara suggest a little earlier on that maybe the Taoiseach might be more open to that. Okay, we're going to be getting some business news with Chris after this quick break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Are you thinking of transferring the family farm? If so, Teagasc are holding a Transferring the Family Farm clinic on Tuesday, 8th of October in the Inishowen Gateway Hotel, Buncrana, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is an opportunity to meet with local accountants, solicitors, mediators, and other relevant parties to help you make a plan for the future. This is a free event and all are welcome. To register, contact Letterkenny Teagasc office on 07491 21555.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Overgrown hedges, shrubs and trees along public roads can become a danger to people using or working on a public road. Donegal County Council is reminding landowners and occupiers of their obligations to trim hedges and trees beside the public road. This should be done before the bird nesting season commences in early March. Donegal County Council thanks the many members of the public who have already carried this work out. Donegal County Council, protecting our communities and environment.
There are silent conversations that happen on our roads every day between drivers and older pedestrians like me. When we catch each other's eye to say, "Do you see me?" or "I'm crossing." But when people don't look out for each other, those connections can be missed. And so can I.
Too many older pedestrians are being killed on our roads. When we look out for each other,
we keep each other safe.
Please look out for older pedestrians. From the Road Safety Authority, visit rsa.ie.
Skoda's 2 brand new models are going fast. This is Donal, driving off in his new HVO-powered Superb Combi. And the Breen family, getting their plug-in hybrid Kodiaq. And this is the sound of someone who didn't get their order in on time. Order your new Skoda today, before it's too late. Skoda. Let's explore.
Skoda. Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396.
Don't even think about buying a bed until you've checked out Restex Beds. Famous for their quality, comfort and excellent service, a Restex bed will ensure a perfect sleep. Restex Beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Leave the rest to us.
Business Matters on Highland Radio is brought to you by Local Enterprise Office, Donegal. Find out more about the Energy Efficiency Grant, aimed at helping businesses to operate in a more sustainable way by visiting localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
Okay, Wednesday morning, which means it's time to catch up on some business news and look forward to the Business Matters podcast from Highland Radio, and its presenter is Chris Ashmore. Morning, Chris.
Good morning, Greg.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll get on to the podcast in a moment, but catch us up with some news. Business Awards season, what's happening?
Yeah, just a few things to mention. The Small Firms Association's National Small Business Awards for this year, they've been officially launched. The awards patron is none other than the Taoiseach, Simon Harris. It's the 21st year of these awards, €50,000 worth of prize money. And so local firms encouraged to enter that. More details on the Small Firms website. And just staying with awards, we mentioned on the show before the Balbafé and Stranorlar Chamber of Commerce, they're having their first awards night. It's been a great success, huge
Have they had it yet?
No, it's on October the 5th.
Okay.
Such was the demand for tickets, they changed the venue. It's now been held in Jackson's Hotel, and all the nominees and the details, you can see that on their Facebook page. So it's the inaugural version of them, and community awards as well for volunteering and sports and all sorts of things. So well done to them. Seems to have been a very good move indeed.
Yeah, we wish them the best of luck with that. A rebranding, a firm, Donegal, well-known firm rebranding?
Yes, now Donegal firm Accountant Online was set up by Donegal woman Larissa Feeney. It's been rebranded as Kinore, and tomorrow in Dublin, as part of the rebranding, they're having a big function in the Conrad Hotel, followed by an opportunity for guests to go and see the RTE Concert Orchestra in the National Concert Hall. So that'll be a nice evening.
Right, so we know the situation with the Irish economy, whether it trickled down, people feel it trickles down or not. It is a strong economy. We're getting a good giveaway budget, as some would see it in Britain. They're avoiding austerity, but very different, cutting back on fuel allowances and what have you, and things are uncertain there. They're in an uncertain period of time. And then somewhere in the middle, the Northern Ireland economy. What's the situation with it at the moment?
Yes, a report out this week, Ernst & Young, and they are essentially saying that things are looking up in the north. They admit it was a challenging 2023. The economy has fared better this year, and it is forecasting growth next year by 1.8%. and a small increase in employment by about 0.7%.
Well, any time there's employment growth, it has to be welcomed. And some figures on struggling businesses, I suppose you could call them, in Q3.
Yes, the number of corporate insolvencies, so sadly going to the wall, 238 in the third quarter of 2024. That's up on the previous year. But there's a lot of businesses coming and going all the time. So again, it's a little like the election poll. It's a snapshot.
Would they catch the likes of pubs and restaurants and cafes closing? Would they fall under the corporate insolvencies banner, I wonder?
I do not know for sure. And you mentioned there certainly the restaurant sector, and we've heard a lot about restaurants closing, but there's also ones opening all the time, so that there's a big turnover. Yeah.
A date for the diary, October 17th.
Yes, the National Women's Enterprise Day is on October the 17th, and the Donegal Local Enterprise Office will have a range of speakers and specialists for an event being held in Loch S Castle. You can get more details on that on the LEO, that's the Local Enterprise Office website.
All right, now let's move on to what's coming up on this week's podcast. A name familiar to many in the communications world and beyond, Trish Hegarty.
Yes, now she worked as a journalist with the Irish Times, RTE and BBC Radio Foyle before setting up her PR, social media and digital content agency. It's Innes Communications, and she's celebrating 20 years. 2004 it all began, and appropriately, given today is Love Donegal Day in the programme, she was a major player in the promotion of the whole Love Donegal campaign, Love Donegal Day. And she also has a PR toolkit for small businesses, which she has developed and had great reaction to that. And in this clip, she essentially explains just what her business is all about.
Putting it in its simplest terms, I help you promote your business or your organisation to the widest possible audience in the best possible way. So we will work with a client to take a strategic approach to marketing their business to make sure that it reflects what their business goals and aims are, because sometimes you could be wasting your time to promote something if you're not really quite clear what it is you want to change. Do you want more people on your website? Do you want more business on your website? Do you want more people crossing your door? Do you want to expand in all areas or certain areas? What's going to give you the greatest profits? What's going to work the best for your business? So there's a lot involved. It's not a one size fits all, and we basically customize our approach to every client. We've a reputation for really good quality work and for delivering great results, and that's something we're very proud of. I'm very proud of having achieved that and still being here, still standing 20 years later and still growing.
And based in Inishowen.
Yeah. You sound surprised.
Well, it was a big, when she set up, it was a big move at the time. She didn't know, obviously, how things were going to go.
Anytime you're in business
expanded.
for 20 years, it's remarkable,
Yeah,
I think, regardless of what the business is. Right, okay. The full interview there. Anything else you want to add to that, Chris?
Yes, well, that's obviously on the podcast
Yeah.
now, online, and on Sunday after the 6 o'clock news. Just a couple of other events to look out for, Greg. Tomorrow, September the 26th, the Disrupt by the Sea 2024 is taking place. Now, this is known as a live audience Shark Tank event. A little bit like Dragon's Den. A number of people will be pitching to a panel of CEOs from the United States who have money to invest in projects that they think have real potential. So it's taking place down in McDade's Yard down in Ramelton.
Wow.
And you go and pitch your business proposition to them. Sean McVeigh from Letterkenny, he won it last year, and there's €10,000 for that. And look, it could be a great launch pad to better things. And the audience...
Is it open,
Yeah.
or if they
The audience
identified
can
that?
go along, and there's audience participation, and the audience also have a say in the vote. So look, if you're about 11:30, just down there at McDade's Football Special Yard, adjacent to the Blue Goat, it's on tomorrow, and a little bit of fun. There'll be refreshments, and you can also network with people, and so it's a really good idea.
Interesting
And
thing.
one other thing to mention, Greg, if you fancy having a couple of beers this weekend, many people may know of Oktoberfest in Germany. Well, Kinniger Brewing here in Donegal, they're having their own version this Friday and Saturday. Kinniger Brewing, they manufacture their beer in Ballyrain here in Letterkenny, so you can go down, see the whole plant down there. There's food it's all very much German themed, with pretzels and
Sausages.
candied almonds and smoked half-cooked chicken with German red cabbage and fries. And they will have 4 authentic German beers there. There's live music. So just go to Kinniger Brewing on the Facebook page, find out much more about that. And looks like a bit of real fun and crack.
Looks like a few people will be backing at a sober October. All right, then. Listen, Chris, thanks very much indeed. And just to recap, Chris Ashmore, the presenter of the Business Matters podcast, you can hear much more of his interview with his guest this week. And that, of course, is Trish. I can't believe I can't remember her name. Her name's gone out of my head and it's back. Trish Hegarty from Innis Communications. That's available for you to listen to right now. We'll stream or download on our website, highlandradio.com. It's broadcast after the 6 o'clock news on Sunday, Chris. And of course, always lines of communications open to you.
Yeah, you can email me at businessmatters@highlandradio.com. And Greg, I hope the rest of your week is a very profitable one.
Indeed, hopefully. And it can be profitable if you shop around, because we were talking about car insurance, and I relent sometimes because I don't want to sound like a scratched record. But this listener says, my car insurance was €1,400 last year. My son was a named driver. We got the renewal quote, €1,800, so it went up €400. They said, right, enough of this. I'm going to shop around. So they did shop around and eventually got a quote for €620. They say sometimes the broker is what makes the difference. I've stopped brand loyalty and it's saving me money. That's some difference. Chris, there's so much money to be saved with that type of stuff. Now, sometimes you can be stuck for different reasons, and the quote you get from your current provider is the cheapest, but 9 times out of 10 you can get it cheaper. And I'm at pains to point out for people. I was talking last week on the show about chatting to a few fellas all locked into big contracts on mobile phones, 40, 45, 35. You can get now all your calls, all your texts, all your data for $12.99 with one company. $12.99.
Yeah,
And
no,
get yourself
shop around,
a
absolutely.
mid-range phone off Amazon or wherever local shops, for $2.99. Look at the amount of money you would save, and that's just on those things. Electricity prices, broadband, change your broadband every year. And the good thing now, Chris, is there's no disruption in.
It's seamless.
So
yeah.
if you switch to Gomo or some of those other brands that are out there now, you schedule the SIM changeover for 3 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. You switch the SIMs going to bed. You wake up the next morning, you're on a new network.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. And often these smaller networks are piggybacking the bigger networks.
Yeah, and you get the same service.
You get the same service.
I changed my mobile several years back and went from paying well over 40
What are you
a
paying
month,
a month now?
15, everything.
Good man. Well
And,
done.
and I just hit a little text once a month. I get a reminder, hit a button, and it's topped up instantly. And listen,
15 quid a month.
15 quid a month. Can't begrudge that.
No.
And, but on the car insurance, look, rule number one, never renew what comes through and the first quote you get, because unfortunately people might leave it to the last minute and then there's a rush and you don't have time. But I have pretty much every year gone on, shopped around, invariably made a saving. And even when the company that you go to, normally you go back to them and say, can you do better? And you say, I've got X, Y, and Z elsewhere. And invariably,
well, at
there's
that point,
some sort of better offer.
I'm almost like stuff yous.
Yeah,
you know, you're taking the clean hand out of me. Now, if you're a younger driver, and they're, say, for instance, you know, you're going with one of these companies that has a black box or something, you might be a wee bit stuck there. But if you are, you know, over 25, or over 20, or whatever, you've got a decent, clean driving record, you should be able to save money. But what happens is, I don't know if it's just me, you get the renewal. And it says if you don't do anything in 14 days or whatever, we'll just roll it on to the next. And then life gets, you know, something else comes up and on it goes. Which reminds me actually of something I want to mention. All right, Chris, listen, thanks very much for that.
Thank you.
I do very much appreciate your input. I'll be back with that thing I know what I need to mention after these.
Highland Radio are planning a musical event just for you. Join us as we spend 3 nights in the luxurious Sleeve Russell Hotel Cavan from Monday the 3rd to Thursday the 6th of February 2025. You will enjoy luxury transfers, dinner, bed and breakfast, and nightly entertainment with some of the very best names in country music, including Michael English, Robert Mazzell, David James, Olivia Douglas, myself Sinead Black, and many more. Join us on Highland Radio's Cavan Country Getaway for just $4.89 per person sharing. Single supplement applies. Early booking advised by visiting the outlet on highlandradio.com or call us at 074 91 25,000 today.
There's only one thing as good as a TUI holiday, and that's looking forward to one. So get next summer sorted and secure your TUI holiday today. Choose beach, city and cruise breaks across a wide range of destinations, with Cyprus and Tunisia new, plus all your favourites like holiday villages, Splash World resorts and our own TUI Blue hotels. Secure now with a low deposit and early booking savings. That's next summer's holiday sorted. TUI, live happy. T's and C's apply.
Your friends said you were mad. Your family said it was risky. Your heart said, I can do this. But now a little voice inside is saying, what's next? Visa's She's Next grant programme is empowering women to take the next step with their small business, with a chance to win one of 5 grants worth up to €50,000 and professional coaching. You say, I'm ready. We say, you've got this. Apply now at visa.ie/she's next. Open to women-owned businesses operating in the Republic of Ireland. T's and C's apply.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
Walk the line with the award-winning Johnny Cash and June Carter tribute show, Cash Returns, live at the Millennium Forum Derry on Friday, 4th of October. Limited tickets on sale now from the box office. That's Cash Returns at the Millennium Forum Derry on Friday, 4th of October.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. Support a local Donegal business with McElhinney's. From fashion to home essentials, find everything you need for any occasion. Shop McElhinney's Ballybuffet for quality you can trust.
Now, I'll mention the weather for you, sorry. It should be mainly dry today with brighter sunny spells. Temperatures of 10 to 12 degrees. Now, there's a very special event coming up on October the 5th. It's a Saturday and it runs from 6:30 to 9 p.m. and it was mentioned on the show when we had the Blue Stack Foundation Choir up singing for us. But the Blue Stack Foundation are presenting, and I believe this is one of a kind, speed dating. It's followed by a disco. And it's all about enhancing the lives of people with additional needs. It takes place in the Jackson's Hotel in Ballybuffet. It is for over 18s. And the question simply is, are you looking for love? It's an opportunity to explore romantic connections in a safe, supportive setting. You do have to register, and you can register by using this email, progression at bluestackfoundation.com. Sorry, my eyes are playing up today. Progression at bluestackfoundation.com. And it's a very special speed dating event followed by a disco, and it is for people with additional needs. between 6:30 and 9 p.m. on Saturday, the 5th of October. Now, as we've mentioned on and off on the show, but really haven't dug into it, this issue in fairness, and it is concerns in the Ballyrain area of Letterkenny. Some residents are pleading with the council to rethink their decision to chop down a 90-year-old oak tree, and effectively it is to make way for a new cycle path. Brendan Ward joins us on the show now. Brendan, how are you getting on?
Good, Greg. Good morning to you.
This is the kind of thing we have to be really careful, Brendan. I said this before. We have one go at this, and we have to make sure we're making right decision. Why do you believe chopping this tree down is the wrong decision?
Well, I read about it in the paper first a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, and discovered that there was an 80-year-old, 90-year-old, I think, oak tree to be cut down to make way for a cycle path. And then what set me off to write that post on Facebook was towards the end of last week, I listened to an advertisement on Highland Radio for Donegal County Council. And they finished off with a phrase or a statement, whatever you want to call it, saying, Donegal County Council looking after your heritage and your culture. Now, if they're looking after our heritage and our culture, I don't think cutting down a 90-year-old oak tree is favourable, if you like.
Mm-hmm. So why are you opposed to it? Because I suppose the way the area is developed, it maybe some would say stands out like a sore thumb, but you probably aren't of that view. What is it about chopping this tree down that you're against?
Well, I don't think. I honestly believe that a tree of that standing is not an eyesore. Shouldn't be an eyesore in anybody's mind. Something similar happened in England recently, where there was a beautiful, massive, very old tree growing in a sort of a little valley, and it was chopped down without any consultation. I know council maintained they had consultation, possibly had, I don't know that, so I can't say yes or no. But I think an old oak tree is something Irish that we should be looking after.
The irony that it's been chopped down to make way for a cycle path is, it can't be ignored that we have a tree here, which I presume is assisting in, obviously it looks pretty, but it's assisting in, purifying the air and all that type of stuff. It's been there for 90 years, not bothering anyone. And we're going to chop it down so people can go up and down there on their scooters. It seems a contradiction in terms.
It absolutely is, yeah. Because I know out around the area that I live in outside Ramelton, the roads around here have old, dare I say, useless trees hanging over the road, half dead, and all that's holding them up is ivy. Mm. But the council are not rushing out to cut them down for safety. As far as I know from all I've read and heard about that oak tree, I don't think it's a threat to anybody's safety.
All right, stay with me. Nuala Carr's a member of the Green Party in this county, also opposed to the destruction of this tree, Nuala. I think I'm correct in saying so.
Yeah, that's right, Greg. I would hate to see this tree cut down. Even though I'm in favour of developing sustainable travel and active and a network of greenways in the county, but I think we shouldn't let our biodiversity suffer as a result of developing our active travel systems. I just think maybe this could be an example of the need for improvement in our public consultation in local authority developments.
I think it also talks, Nuala, to our planning, right? Because, we apparently can put people on the moon. Surely we can figure out a way to accommodate a cycle and footpath or whatever, a cycle path, and retain this beautiful tree that serves its purpose from a green perspective. It can't be beyond us. Why must it be the tree goes track there? There has to be some sort of innovative solution, a good PR exercise from the council to ensure that everyone's happy.
Yeah, that's right, Greg. I mean, I suppose it just goes back to the design and the planning of this greenway. I suppose maybe they're limited for space. But I'm just curious, maybe did the designers get out and walk the agreed route before they put in the plans, and did they know that the tree was going to have to go? These are things that maybe should be done if these developments are going to get done correctly.
There does seem there's some space to go around it. I think it would actually be quite cute. It might add to the experience. Let's see what Anna thinks. Hi, Anna.
Hello, Greg. Anna here. Yes. I think it would be a thundering disgrace to cut that tree down. A 90-year-old tree. I just think it would be an awful, awful shame altogether. And with regard to these cycle lanes and all that, okay, all right, the cycle lanes are all right, but these things that they build, to house bicycles, I have yet to see a bicycle in one of those things yet.
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying. There's not an awful lot of people seemingly out and about on these things.
Yeah.
But you are very
this
much...
line's not great line.
No, it's okay, Anna, and I'll let you go because it's not great, but you are very opposed to the destruction of this tree.
Absolutely, because for those who know the Derry Road and into Redcastle there's one there in a field at Redcastle Hotel, and it has people cut all round it, and it's so beautiful just when you're driving up or down the road just to look and see that huge big tree just in the middle of the field. It would be a thundering disgrace, if anybody even thought about cutting that down. Right. So I understand how the people who are close to that tree feel.
Okay,
I think it would be a thundering disgrace.
Thanks, Anna. You agree, Brendan? I mean, in some way, it harks back a little bit, I suppose, to what Letterkenny was. We built around this tree. It didn't sprout up in the middle of the road either.
That's true.
All right, okay. Well, we'll see if common sense prevails. I do think we should definitely have full respect for all views, especially locals. You'd back that, Brendan, and Nuala, I'm sure you would as well.
Absolutely, Greg. Yeah.
Okay, thank
I
you so
think
much
we
for your
should
time.
try our best to keep it.
Let common sense prevail, as some would see it. Right, that's where we leave it on the show today. We're back with Thursday's show tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening and partaking and watching.